Hey, welcome. We are revisiting the Mania WrestleMania Rewatch podcast. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria. Carlos and I are going to break down WrestleMania 26. I'm pretty fired up, which is also the tagline WrestleMania Get All Fired Up. I'm going to give my thoughts, reactions, opinions as a new fan to sports entertainment. Sports entertainment that's called wrestling.
And I'm Carlos. I'm the one that's revisiting WrestleMania 26 to see if go through the bumps, the storylines, and see if the matches from 2010 still hold up for me to recommend to a new person like my wife, or to a seasoned veteran like myself, or if you should skip them.
Mm.
And if we're ready,
I feel like we need a drum roll.
okay, hold on a second. All right, and if we're ready, here we have Zombie King from
How
the.
you doing, Diamond? Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. He's from the Four Sides of the Ring
Yes,
podcast.
sir. Yes,
Thank
four
you for
sides of the
joining.
ring.
Yeah, and how long has your podcast been going on?
I think I think June we be coming up to a year now.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you guys are a little bit older than our podcast. We started around maybe the third week of July of last year.
It's
Okay.
been a year
Ah,
anniversary.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're getting there.
So, can
nice.
you tell us a little bit more about the Four Sides of the Ring?
Yeah, how did that come about?
I just got a phone call actually from Marcus, our pretty much founder. He called me one day. He knows I'm a professional wrestler. We grew up together. Had plenty of wrestling room WrestleManias back in the day when we was children.
Okay.
So he, hit us up. He said, "Yeah, I want to start a podcast, talk about wrestling," and because it on the every time we're together, it sounds like a podcast anyway. When
Right.
we're just hanging out and when we start discussing about wrestling, it's pretty much we're just missing the microphone and the camera. So he was like, "Let's do it." I was like, "I'm down."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are definitely doing it. If you haven't, or those who are watching or listening, definitely subscribe to their podcast. It's a good time.
Thank
So
you.
with
I
that,
appreciate that.
you're welcome. We have a question. So,
Yes.
what was your first WrestleMania experience like as a fan before you became a wrestler?
Mm. First WrestleMania. It's so hard. I mean, the most memorable for me is probably when Ray won the title. I mean, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I've been wrestling since I was, my dad can sit me down and put me in front of the TV. But the WrestleMania that always comes to mind is probably Ray winning the title.
Oh,
Okay. So that's the first one that you remember in your young mind. Okay. Now, have you ever watched any of the other ones? Like
Oh yeah,
before?
oh yeah,
Okay.
plenty of WrestleMania. Like I've been watching WrestleMania since my dad, but
Okay.
it's so hard to think. There's been so many. So that's why I always stick to the Rey Mysterio. That's very Rey Mysterio for me was the reason why I got into professional wrestling. So that
Okay.
moment for me will always stick with me.
Okay. So besides Rey Mysterio, did you have any other wrestlers that you idolize?
Oh yeah, Undertaker for sure with his streak. Randy Orton, I think Randy Orton's probably the goat to me. He does no wrong in the ring. So
Hmm.
any Triple H, I feel like Triple H matches in WrestleMania is a little underrated. Uh, yeah. I mean, he tells good stories no matter who he's in there with. I mean, he's not the technical, he's not high flying. He's pretty much a brawler type wrestler that I would like to label him as, but like he's underrated. And when it comes to WrestleMania,
Right. And what?
well, what first drew you to wanting to become a professional wrestler? Was it a wrestling moment or a particular WrestleMania match? I know you talk about the Master of the
yeah.
619.
I think it goes back to WCW with the cruiserweights. That right there. I was a big superhero fan growing up,
Mhm.
so once I saw the luchadors in WCW, especially Ray, I was like, that's it. Like to me, Rey Mysterio was Spider-Man. I was like, oh man, like I want to whatever he's doing, I want to do.
Awesome.
Got it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm
Do
like,
you?
and you're doing it because we saw you
Yes,
jump
Yeah.
over the ropes.
Yeah,
yeah,
if you have a
I
chance,
tried.
visit Zombie King's Instagram. He has a very great sizzle reel,
Thank you.
and you will be amazed by what this young man can do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
As an indie talent, do you have like if you were to make it up to the big time at
Hmm.
WrestleMania,
Yeah.
do you have like a dream match that you would have either with a current or with a former talent?
Current. I mean, I will always, it's probably the top two for me right now. Will probably be Ray or Randy Orton.
Okay.
Those are my goats. So if I can get a moment with them, that'll be awesome.
That is pretty awesome. They're two pretty great wrestlers. Favorites of ours for sure. Legend killer Randy Orton, still going strong.
Mm,
So how has the journey of being an indie wrestler lived up to your dreams and expectations so far?
exactly what you expect. Maybe even more. I had a pretty decent week of wrestling this past weekend, Friday, Saturday. This you have matches. Of course, any type of um things that we do, we have down periods where it's like, should I, keep going, or is it, worth it and all in this? And then you have a show, like I had a show yesterday, this packed show, and you're like, yeah, this is why I do it. This is why I, you know, take the falls, take the bumps, take the hits. Like it's just, you go back to that Eddie Guerrero speech. It's like a high, you
Mhm.
know. It's just something that you can't get anywhere else.
Nice.
And then can you tell us a little bit about where are you wrestling currently?
Oh, my main promotion that I pretty much call home is called ECPW, East Coast Professional Wrestling. It's run
ACP.
by Gino Caruso.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I've been, all over the place, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, you know, stuff like that. But ECPW has been my home.
Okay.
Nice.
And how long has that been for?
I've been wrestling. My dad got into it. Man, I was like, my dad got into it maybe when I was around 14. I didn't start until I was 16.
So
Oh,
your
okay.
dad was wrestling as well?
Yes.
Or oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, like what's your dad's wrestling name?
He is Frankie Flo,
Oh,
Frankie
the Puerto
Frankie
Rican
Flo.
Flo.
powerhouse.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I was like, your last name, we won't say it here, but I was like, I do have in my family as well. They're
Oh,
from
nice.
AZ. So it's interesting that we're gonna be talking about Arizona today because they're out in Arizona from Chicago now.
Oh,
So
okay. Nice.
very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And
And so then as far as what continues to motivate and drive your passion for wrestling, the wrestling business? I know you talked about having that like major crowd yesterday while you're wrestling.
Hmm.
but is there anything else besides like getting, as Nacho Libre say, get a little bit of the glory and see what
Yeah.
it's like?
I mean, of course, every wrestler's dream is to try to make it to the top. Any big promotions. So that right there is always going to be motivating. But you know, me personally, I love to go to Japan and
Awesome.
test the waters down there. Just showing what I got and showing that I'm one of the best.
Yeah.
Well, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, if you ever make it out here a little bit to the west, you let us know and we'll
Oh
definitely make
yeah, I
the
would love
drive if
to.
we need to.
Definitely trying to get down there more.
Yeah. All right, and if we're ready,
We're
we can
ready.
start off this WrestleMania 26
Oh yeah.
out of Scottsdale or Glendale, Arizona, wherever that new Arizona Cardinals stadium is at.
It was.
Yeah.
So the event took place March 28th of 2010 at the University of Phoenix Stadium, now known for those who live in the AZ State Farm Stadium. and it was the first WrestleMania with a non-title match as the main event. So I am excited about this.
I think that's I know
Oh,
you
go ahead.
got that from from
Yeah.
your research,
Mhm.
but I think this is like the second or third WrestleMania without a world title because we had Bam Bam Bigelow
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
versus Lawrence Taylor in
Lawrence
WrestleMania
Taylor.
11.
Yeah.
So this would be the
I'm not sure if it's the second or third one. I remember there's another one, but I can't think off the top of my head. So if
interesting.
you got that from Wikipedia, then we need to go in there and fix
Edit
that.
it out real quick.
Yeah.
Edit
That's
it.
it.
Okay.
So
So
just to give people who are watching this on the video, we have a crowd shot here, so you see how many people they managed to pack in here.
Yeah.
Now that's a good looking set.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in the background when people were coming out, it was kind of tiered like a pyramid. And also, this was you mentioned Maria had mentioned that she liked the area around the stage that it was also shaped like a pyramid
I
too. I
did.
just
I think
noticed
there were
that.
over 72,000 people in attendance.
Yeah,
So did you guys watch this live when it was on TV?
I watched it live on pay per view.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
remember this one.
yeah, I remember like thinking back to where I was in 2010. I was like actually excited to watch this, not only because we have the streak versus the career match,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
but I was looking forward to we have the Money in the Bank. That's always a banger
Oh, yeah.
to have on the card. Uh, just like Zombie King, I was a fan of Triple H, and here he was versus Sheamus. And then we had Bret Hart coming back for the induction of his father into the WWE Hall of Fame.
That's hard for me because I didn't have a favorite Triple H match until Triple H wrestled with Randy Orton and who was it, Cena?
Yeah, the triple
The
threat
That
match.
triple
triple
threat.
threat. That
Yeah,
has
Yeah.
to be like one of my favorite you know,
yeah.
matches.
Hunter
Match.
had that whole bad luck streak of, I think it was either from 18 on, where he kept booking himself before a banger match. Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood versus Rock, and then he went
Yeah.
and was right after
The
that one.
placement. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he tried to give himself a cushion every time he had a match, whether it was like one match or two matches before
Mm-hmm.
his. And but it's after that, I think those matches still had drained the emotion or like
Oh,
the
yeah.
investment of the crowd, and they were just to me they were completely dead.
That's a good
As
point.
on some of us on
Yeah.
some of our revisits, we had to be like, this is a good match, but I think you should watch it without the crowd, like watch it silent.
Mm.
So you like if you're a fan of wrestling, like you pick up on like the things you mentioned, like Hunter is more of a methodical
Yes.
and more of a powerhouse type of wrestler. That's how, and he sells pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows how to make that particular face, or at times he was a face, but
Mm-hmm.
how to make the heat go for the heel by like selling a move and having him work on that particular body part or things
Exactly.
along those lines.
Yeah. The ring psychology with Triple H, like we said, it's very underrated. But his psychology to this craft is very underrated.
Yeah. And we see why it's paying off for him because he's doing a great job as far as taking over creative from
Yeah, I was
Vince.
gonna say, isn't he like what is he? He's
He's the CO,
the COO?
Yeah.
CCO, Creative Content Officer, or something.
Yeah. Head of creative or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
One of those high labels names.
right.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
we get this first match, which is the Big Show versus the Big Show and the Miz,
The
known as
Mm-hmm.
Show
show
Miz.
Miz.
Show Miz.
Yeah, with R-Truth making his WrestleMania debut, and John Morrison. How long does this match go?
It goes for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It's pretty
Yeah.
short.
It's
That's it.
definitely a short match.
Not the best opener for a WrestleMania.
No, the previous ones we've gotten ladder, Money in the Bank ladder matches. There
Mm-hmm.
were a couple times where we didn't get it, and I understand that we need to get the tag team division some like
Some love.
spotlight
Oh,
Yeah.
and some love, but
Definitely. At
because
that time.
the previous WrestleMania they were in a dark match. Well,
Mhm.
not dark match, but they were in the kickoffs because now we don't have kickoffs matches anymore. We have one long hour of them trying to break it down like it's a sporting event.
Yeah, the press conference feel or
Hmm.
That's true.
So,
So I have a question.
yes.
So Zombie, what do you think about the Showmiz as a tag team?
I liked it. I mean, I feel like Big Show was another underrated like not like towards his end of his WWE career, people was giving him a lot of crap. He was like he's a face, and then all of a sudden he was a heel, and then back and forth. Well, I figure because they need someone to teach these young guys like timing, positioning, when to do something, when not to do something. And Big Show been around for years, so he was a
Mhm.
perfect teacher for all that.
Right.
So that was a perfect for someone to be in the tag team and have someone as Big Show.
Hmm.
Like Miz was, I think, did he won his title yet when he tagged?
no,
Not yet, right?
not yet. He's gonna get it at the next WrestleMania.
Next, so he was like building to that, and the Big Show was a perfect teacher for him. I think.
I think 25. He was he in 25?
Yeah, 25. He was in that triple threat match.
And that
Hmm.
was one of my favorite matches with him. So
Yeah, he had moved on up. Remember, because in 24 he faced Mayweather.
yeah, like you
Uh huh.
said, he finally got like a really good match. He is underrated. And we've seen him, like you said, he's been wrestling for so long. So we've seen Slim Show, Medium Show, Big
Yeah,
Show,
yeah.
all the shows.
Pretty much.
But
He did a run with Jericho too. I
yeah.
forgot the name of that one.
So with this one, did you have any favorites out of these two tag
Yeah,
teams?
when you first saw this as a young Zombie King, maybe you were Zombie Prince, but when you saw this match, were you were rooting for the Showmiz or were you rooting for R Truth and John Morrison?
um, I think I was getting ready to get some plate of food or something. It wasn't. I mean, like it wasn't.
His belly was rooting for
Yeah, it
you
wasn't the
guys.
best opener,
Okay.
but
Oh.
it was a nice spotlight for tag team.
Yeah, it was, we could tell that they got this program cut short. We got a 3 minute
Mhm.
thing. The only thing that popped was when the Showmiz showed up. What about you, Maria?
Well,
Who were you?
I'm a fan of all these wrestlers. And I can't pick a tag team that's a favorite.
Okay.
And the Showmiz, they did have a pretty decent run. But I'm also a fan of John Morrison and R Truth. The awesome truth.
Well, the awesome truth comes
Yeah.
later when he tag teams with the Miz. That's what I was gonna bring up.
Right.
That
I preferred that tag more than
the
him and
awesome truth. Yeah,
Morrison. Yeah.
especially with what our truth has, I guess, evolved his character to.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's that whole. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes type of thing where he feigns like he's like dumb or he's like
Yeah.
airheaded, but in the end like luck turns around and he
Mhm.
ends up like he might win a tag team title, he might win the
Exactly.
365 belt by accident, and then he's like, what do I do now? But
Well, do
Yeah.
you have any favorite spots out of this match?
I did
Spot
have a
wise.
favorite spot. I think the Johnny Morrison where he has like a splash where it takes him outside.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like John Morrison had like he has some really good like athletic moves that he
Oh
pulls
yeah.
out here.
Yeah. He was one another guy I looked at like when I got into wrestling,
Mhm.
like actually doing it. Like John Moore style, he mixed the parkour with it, and I was also a fan of parkour growing up. So I was like, yeah, his moveset and his ability, top
Parkour
notch.
definitely had a moment, right?
The
Yeah,
what?
I'm like, parkour definitely had a
Oh
moment.
he
yeah,
definitely
he
did. Yeah,
made it into the office
I'm
as
like,
a skit
yeah, I
when
was
they
in
do the
parkour.
I
uh,
was like, you're probably able to finesse it. I don't know what I was doing, but I was not doing it well.
Hmm.
mm.
So with this, would you recommend this match? Is this a recommended match for you? Is this a pass?
I
I
mean,
will not recommend this match
yeah,
if I'm introducing this to a fan like yourself, and for some reason we have only WrestleMania 26 to like have as a template. I would be
hmm
like, you know what, skip this match. Please do not watch this match because it
Mm,
doesn't do any type of justice to the performers here. You can't get enough time, and that's why we only get all these spots. It's a spot
exactly.
heavy match, and
Mhm.
it's just meant to like dazzle you and just be
That's
like,
it.
oh, and then it's over, and you're like, okay, that's
Well,
it.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the Big Show actually did a splash on Morrison. That was pretty cool too.
Mhm.
So there were some fun spots, but this was a miss for me, especially to an opening for WrestleMania. So with this would be not a recommended match for me, and I'd say pass it.
In Zombie King, I think I might have jumped in a
Yeah.
little early, but do you also say, are you in agreement with us with saying to skip this match?
Yeah, I would skip it as a fan, but if, as a worker, as a wrestling worker, I would watch it only because what you can do with 3 minutes.
Okay.
Nice.
Like people say, "Oh, it's only 3 minutes." Like they did a lot under 3 minutes, so it's using your time properly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, I agree with that one. Like if I was looking at it as through his eyes as a professional, and they're like the booker tells you, or you only have this a lot of time, and then you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Also,
highlight you, you highlight me, and then we'll go home.
I like when the Big Show holds R-Truth like a baby. It just
Yeah.
shows like how strong he is. So that was
Oh
pretty cool
yeah.
too. So what?
Very underrated when it comes to comedy too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to show her the clip because I remember when the Big Show would bust out impersonations once in a while,
Mm. Yeah.
and he wore the bald cap to be Hulk
Oh,
Hogan,
I
and he
forgot about
came
this.
as the showster, and so
Yeah, I think a
Yeah.
lot of people think they're an odd couple as a tag team, but Showmiz have been around for just a little bit.
hmm
So I think they dissolved back in 2013, though.
yeah,
Yeah. Me personally, I would like that. It almost brings back to like Shawn Michaels and Diesel, short guy or big
Mm,
guy.
yeah,
There's a good combination in my
yeah.
eyes. I always like that.
yeah.
It was the reverse as far as one is a veteran.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
Sean was the veteran, even though Diesel had been also wrestling for a while, but in the eyes of a WWF now
Hmm.
viewer, he would have been new. So that one would have gone. But
Wow.
with
Definitely big.
this, go ahead.
That's I was saying this TV wrestling and like indie wrestling is similar but a lot different to it.
Okay, you
And
want to get into that more,
yeah, I'm
or
curious, what would the
This
differences be?
positioning,
Hmm.
facing the hard
yeah,
cam, time, talking to the ref, making sure the ref is, in there with you. Ref is, if you got a good ref, he's in there. Guys are 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes. Okay, let's take it home. Or, just crowd wise and stuff. Me personally, I think it's a tad bit harder to get that emotional contact with crowds because you're so focused on the hard cam. Where independence, you have that free realm of, you don't have to sell to this camera. You can sell over here. You can sell to this person. You can sell to your best friend, your grandma, or whatever the case may be.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
That's
that's a good.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm like very cool insight to stuff that, like you don't hear about. So
Mm,
thank you for sharing.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And with this, we move on to the triple threat match of Randy Orton versus Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Cody Rhodes.
Were you excited to see three legacies in the ring? Because I was.
Oh yeah, especially when I was like, I think that was 2010. I was actually just getting into having matches at the time, so I was definitely like, this could be like me one day, hopefully.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So we have Legacy breaking up. They have been teasing this breakup, and eventually, initially, from what I was reading here, it was supposed to be Ted DiBiase Jr.
I thought we were
Mm,
going to
that
say
was
senior.
supposed to be like the guy that was supposed to be spotlight as the face,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
but people were accepting Randy more as the face
Hmm.
and getting more behind him, so they ended up doing that split that way.
Yeah, I think that
I
this. Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think that was just worth ethic when it came down to it, and psychology in the ring and stuff. Like when it comes to storytelling and psychology. Randy Orton is top notch.
Yeah, I agree. When I think about DiBiase Jr. and Randy Orton just excels on all things to me. So, am I a fan of Randy versus Jr.? Like, that's for sure.
Mm.
And he didn't have a long career run, right?
No, not with the E.
No,
I think he
I
just
think
got like the standard 3 to 4 years, and
Was
then
it
that
through?
was it.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think he'd do much after the legacy when that feud. Like I think maybe stick around a couple of few months.
Hmm. I think this whole thing. I think he might have. Now we'll just go off before we go into this match
Mm-hmm.
that went for about 9 minutes. Do you think that he would have had a longer career, like if he would have adopted kind of like $1 million esque gimmick like his father?
That's so hard. That's a 50-50 because those like being uh, being second generation, especially when you have names like that,
Yeah,
it's hard. It's that fine line is how much do I not copy but imitate of the first generation without shallowing what I'm trying to do on my own. Like some people may work for, and some it probably could have worked for him, and people would have gave him that more legacy feel because TBiase, I feel like TBiase was more of a hardcore. Like people really know what him. Like the average fan's not gonna be like, oh yeah, I know $1 Million Man TBiase without
mhm.
actually like breaking it down to them.
Mhm.
Like I feel like who's what's his name right now in NXT? Alex King or Brian Paul Pillman
The
Jr.'s son,
Lexus King.
Lexus King.
Yep.
Like I feel like him trying to take that full on gimmick on like his dad. I feel like that hurt him instead of like
Mm.
adopting
Yeah.
somewhat of it and not completely just shadowing who you are as an individual.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like what Braun Breaker did, where he didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be known as Rick Steiner's son.
Or
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes.
exactly.
It
He's
was
another perfect example of taking little pieces of my father without to shower me like oh, I just don't want to be a complete copycat.
Yep,
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, you have any particular spots or anything you want to go into with this 9 minute match?
Well, there was a pretty awesome moonsault by Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting to see Cody with his black hair instead of the
Yeah,
platinum blonde that he has right now. That
definitely.
was like really cool. Also he took Orton and DiBiase out. That looked to me like it was pretty like a high risk, and that was one of my favorite spots.
Yeah, when he had that double draping rope DDT.
DDT. Yeah, that's one of
Yeah.
my favorite spots. Just
Mhm.
how he milks that before he hits it.
Yeah, it's like he takes the temperature and makes the crowd get hot and just
That's
he's
it.
mastered that over the years where he's
It's
just like
definitely,
got
definitely.
yeah. So with this one, we start off. Randy starts off hot. He starts kind of like going back and forth with trying to keep them the legacy characters, Ted
Hmm.
DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes from ganging up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, the numbers game does end up catching up to him, and like you mentioned, Tommy King, the draping DDT comes after uh, Ted DiBiase Jr. actually tries to go for a pin, and that causes dissension with the legacy members that still remain.
Yeah.
And once that happens, Randy's able to pick up the pin in the win, and that's it.
What did you think about the screen coming down in the background? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I thought it
I
had its
thought
moments. Go ahead.
definitely a cool shot.
Yeah.
I
it's
liked it.
like
Yeah.
something that I don't remember, but
I
when it
yeah.
was
At
coming,
first, no. Yeah.
yeah, I don't remember that. When she first pointed it out, I thought that they had brought that particular piece of the stage
Mm-hmm.
down because of the Money in the Bank ladder, and they were just putting the briefcase on. And then I
Gotcha. Gotcha.
started pulling pictures, and I started looking at like, no, they've been doing this like throughout the
Throughout.
night in
Yeah.
particular instances where the stage that particular TV or whatever
Yeah,
board
he
comes
had like
down.
wings on the back of
Yeah,
him.
Yeah,
so that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, like the
definitely.
visuals were pretty awesome.
No,
So, with all that and with all these spots and with all these amazing legendary wrestlers in the ring, was it a recommended match for you?
I would think so because it kind of shows. Uh, at first Randy Orton very it wasn't it was 2 against 1 initially, and then it shows how to properly fight off 2 guys without making it look like a botch.
Mhm.
And then it leads up to the whole buildup of them finally getting frustrated with each other and then turning and then finally goes into a 3 match. So storytelling, if you that would be a nice story and say, hey, go back, follow the story until WrestleMania, and then you'll have that match. So I recommend it.
awesome.
What about you?
Uh, if you're going like his particular background as a wrestler and you want to show this off
Mhm.
as this is how you make a three-way type of storyline work from A to Z,
Hmm.
then definitely go back and rewatch it, especially like if you're a longtime fan, like us, that you want to see something, like if you're getting into type of like independence, or if for some reason you're into like writing scripts for
Hmm.
wrestlers and things like that, because we do have, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we had our friend Nate. He used to be like in an E league, so they do
Okay,
creator wrestlers,
nice.
but it's not based on like this is how, or what if Randy lost or
Hmm.
things like that. They create their own wrestlers, and then they go out there and they cut promos for them,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
like they're
That is
like
pretty interesting. Yeah.
talents and things like that. So if you're like someone like that particular, if you're into those E leagues where you create your own wrestler, this would probably be a good template. Yeah, but as a fan, or if I'm recommending this to someone that is a newer fan like my wife, unfortunately, this is not a recommended revisit for me.
What? I
No, I
have
can
to.
definitely see that though, because if you don't know, like if this is your first time watching a 3-way and you're not following the story, kind of is not going to make sense to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right. So you have good points. This is also not a recommended match for me. I think the best part of this match for me was when Randy RKO's DiBiase.
Hmm.
Um, so with that, this is a pass for me.
All right.
Yep. I mean, again, I had high expectations. All three of these wrestlers, definitely fans of, was looking forward to seeing it. but it just ended up being a pass.
All right.
So with that,
That
I'd
one
like
we
to.
get with the third match in this card. It ends up being the final time the Money in the Bank ladder match is featured on a WrestleMania card. This match has returning Kofi Kingston,
Mm.
Shelton Benjamin, Christian, Kane, MVP, Matt Hardy, and then we get newer wrestlers making his WrestleMania debut is Jack Swagger, Evan Bourne, not the Scottish Warrior yet, but Drew McIntyre.
An early Drew is interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually watching this the other day, and even my girlfriend was like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "That's
And then
Drew." She was like,
and
"What?"
Yeah, he looks so different.
does like baby
Yeah,
face, and he still
Yeah,
has the long hair, but it's
it's
weird to
like there's
see.
everything, like the weight, the
Yeah,
beard. It's like
he
a
doesn't
whole
have
like
all
different
that
person to me.
chest hair too. He's
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and then
interesting.
Definitely
last
changed.
yeah,
Wow.
last but not least, you have seen him in a WrestleMania before, but you were not aware of his name at the time. But he was part of the Spirit Squad. But now Dolph Ziggler makes his
Yeah.
debut as Dolph Ziggler. This is the
Interesting.
man that you were excited to touch when we went to go see the WWE house show out in Hammond all those
Mm,
years ago. So
That's interesting.
there it is. Yeah.
I'm telling
yeah,
you, that's one of my favorite things is like even when we went to like you were saying that one show that we saw in Pilsen.
the Warrior Wrestling.
Yeah, I
Mm.
just being so close to the wrestling was pretty awesome. Very interesting, very cool. I loved all of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But these 10 guys, we only got this match going 13 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah.
So, Maria, who were you rooting for? I'm assuming they're like a fan of like maybe 6 to 8 of these people.
Yeah. Kofi, Matt Hardy, MVP, Shelton Benjamin were just a few of the wrestlers I was rooting for. What about you, Zombie?
I was always a Shelton Benjamin fan. I feel like he was a underrated wrestler. I feel like he was one of those guys you can put him in the ring with anyone, and you'll get a good match.
Yeah.
Kobe Kingston was also a fan favorite with me at the time. So yeah, those two guys probably I was rooting for the most.
I think you're right. Shelton Benjamin's definitely an underrated wrestler. We've been watching him in these what is it? The Money in the Bank ladder matches for the past few WrestleManias, at least 3, 4 plus.
Yeah, he's been in 4
that I can think of.
Yeah.
And he's just he really knows how to work awesome moves. Definitely like running up a ladder,
Yeah.
flying here and there. He's one of my favorites. So
Nice.
Yeah, definitely feel that Shelton did not get his moment to shine as much as he probably deserved to.
Mhm.
I didn't get to watch his TNA run, but I believe he did get more time and a singles run in TNA. But
Yeah, I have to ask one of our guys, Martin. He's a TNA pretty much expert, so I'll send him a text later and be like, "How was Shelton Benjamin's run in TNA?"
all right. Oh, we have a first comment here on our live stream from maybe one of your co-hosts here, and we get a year.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, so
That's definitely
thank
one
you
of
for
them with the
joining us here.
year.
here.
Uh,
That's a New York thing.
I
Yeah.
know. I used to watch, who was it when they were on for a while?
uh, who, the Breakfast Club
No,
or
I do watch Breakfast Club,
Wendy
Okay.
but
Williams?
no, I watch Wendy Williams too. But it was two guys, I can't think of their name
Oh,
right now.
these is Amaro.
Yeah, Jesus and
Oh,
Mero.
okay. I think I heard.
So,
Yeah.
when their show was on, they actually started on YouTube, so I started watching them there. I started following them on Twitter. I'm like, these guys are funny. Sad to see that they're not on anymore, but they were just they're really good.
Nice.
Oh, I guess they needed to clarify for me. And they said, "Oh, hello." That's more proper.
That's a little bit.
Yeah,
Come on, guys.
yeah. Thank you. So with this one, thinking back to 2010, I would have been a fan of Christian. I'm
Yeah.
still on the Christian bandwagon. I always felt that he was the best of the two between Edge and Christian. It may have been seen differently through, Vince's eyes and things along those lines, but there was always something about Christian that I was just like what it was for me when I saw Shawn Michaels, where I'm like, there's something about this guy, and I'm gonna follow his career. There's just like something just clicked with
Yeah.
me and seeing him. So,
Well, then
uh,
when he was tagging with Marty Jannetty, what was that? Rock and Roller Express? No, what was
yeah,
that called
the
again?
Rockers,
The
but they
Rockers.
were
Yeah.
they were the Rock and Roll Express, and then they had to change their name. But when they first got into the E,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was just like something about like, especially when in the beginning when Sean started to make that separate thing, it's just like he brought that attitude, and
Yeah.
I know that everyone likes to credit Stone Cold as bringing in the Attitude Era, but I've always felt that it's was beginning with Sean.
Oh yeah, definitely when he was doing the DX, like he was breaking the rules often.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with this 13-minute and 40 second match, we had some couple of good spots. It starts off with the big guy Kane
Yeah.
Forgot
cleaning
about Kane.
house. Uh,
Why did nobody mention Kane as a favorite, guys?
because I am not a fan of Kane, unfortunately.
I mean,
Anthony,
not often big guys win a ladder match.
our our previous guest Anthony was a big Kane fan, and unfortunately,
Mm.
that's where I have to draw the line.
Oh,
I never got to, especially when Kane took off the mask. It was where it was like definitely.
the Undertaker's brother? How dare you?
I mean, brother of discretion, but I definitely I do agree when Kane took off the mask, it kind of lost that.
Wheeler.
I
Mhm.
don't know, it lost a bit of little kick to it to me.
The
I mean,
mystery.
they put off this storyline where Kane is mad at the Undertaker because he had burned his face and he was disfigured, and then he takes off his mask and he's not disfigured.
No, he just got a one messed up eye.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I think him and Rey Mysterio were probably sharing contacts because
Oh.
Rey was also sporting those
Maybe
type of blackout
they
or
had the
whiteout.
contact
Yeah,
hookup.
yeah, they did, right? So there's yeah, so we got the powerhouse. I think they learned from the last Money in the Bank ladder match because in the previous one they had Kane and Mark Henry,
Right.
and having two powerhouses in a ladder match is kind of a little difficult
Yeah,
there because it makes it seem like how can you not have one of those two big guys win
Hmm.
to in my eyes. But
agree. Yeah,
so we brought back Kane. Kane's clearing house. Eventually they all team up against Kane, taking them all out with here with the ladder.
That was fun.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. We got a couple of spots here where people are attempting to climb the ladder, and here we have Drew McIntyre. Here's where you were talking about where he's different gear. He's wearing, I believe, this is the Scottish flag
mhm.
that's on his trunks and on his knee pads, and Matt Hardy's pushing down the thing, and eventually Christian and Jack Swagger are making their way up the ladder. They're fighting it off, and Jack Swagger uses the briefcase as a weapon, hits Christian off, and Jack Swagger wins. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I was not happy with this.
You're not
Yeah, I
happy
was
with the win?
surprised. Definitely
Yeah,
surprised with Jack Swagger.
Who do you think should have taken the win then? I'm curious.
me as a Christian fan, I would have said Christian.
Oh, I thought you would have
I
said
mean, I
Kane.
wouldn't have been mad at Christian. Christian's always been. You can put Christian anywhere at any time and have him work.
No
But
DQ.
I like to
You
see
think so?
Shelton Benjamin got his flowers maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. We've been rooting for Shelton Benjamin
we've been
for the
pounding
last
that drum
Yeah,
for a
WrestleManias.
while, and like,
he's always
who's
been a solid this anywhere. Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
He was the gold standard.
Yep.
I think the only thing that probably hurt Shelton Benjamin is probably maybe promos.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So with
So,
that,
what about you? Did you like that Jack Swagger had one? I know you weren't a fan
of Jack
of
Swagger.
Jack Swagger because eventually he gets that We the People persona a
hmm
Hmm.
little bit later when he gets built packaged with Zeb
Yeah, that made me
and
yeah,
grumpy.
us as people of color.
I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
Like
we the
this makes
people.
this makes
Yeah.
me mad.
Yeah,
Which was that means that they were doing their
They're
job.
doing their
yeah,
job
Yeah.
definitely.
as
Hey,
intended.
Mm, but
that's
I was
it.
like, this makes me furious.
That's perfect. That, yeah,
Um,
exactly. If we can get, I say that wrestlers are like we play with people's emotions. Unfortunately,
yeah.
we try to make you feel every type of emotion during the match.
Well, I have a question. We didn't ask you. Are you heel or face?
Mostly, I'm a face.
mhm,
I do play heel sometimes. It's a little funner
nice.
playing the heel,
Hmm.
but
And that's what I always tell her. Like I do that with my toddler. Sometimes I just play the heel and
that's it.
You have
That's
to. You
it.
have to be tough.
because just getting that
Yeah,
reaction where you're like, "Ah."
that's it. That's it. You're doing your job.
Yeah,
That's it. You get a
and,
tier or two. You're definitely doing your job.
yeah,
It's
co-host agreed that Shelton was always underrated here.
definitely. What was I gonna say? I blinked. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Yeah,
So
I had a
with
brain
this
fart.
match, you were wanting Shelton to win. I would want Christian to win. Unfortunately, Jack Swagger wins. Was that you were not rooting for Jack Swagger,
Not at
right? But
all.
you
I
were
mean, we
rooting
didn't
for
even mention his name while
anyone
we were
but Jack
talking right
Swagger.
Yeah,
now. No, anyone swagger. He didn't have enough swagger for me.
yeah.
So, I am always rooting for Shelton. Fan of MVP.
Hmm.
Not Kane. Kane could have probably just reached up and grabbed it, right? Because he's just so
Yeah.
tall.
Super tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was it a recommended match for you?
I
Because
would
we
I
had
would
seen.
I would say recommend just to see some chaos,
Mhm.
some bodies getting thrown, some cool spots. Like Evan Bourne, another guy that has amazing abilities with his body, especially in midair. Like the shooting star pref, I think he did like off 1 foot off the ladder onto, I forgot onto who, but like little stuff like that.
Yeah, this
People
is.
was like, it'll be a nice like, hey, this is wrestling. This is it. It may look like a bunch of chaos, but there's an art form to it.
Mhm. I agree with you.
Yeah, this is Money in the Bank ladder match that out of the 6 that we've had so far, I would not recommend it if you're just watching WrestleMania 26.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
This one overall, out of the 6 that we've had,
got a hot
Okay.
take.
the one from when it first started at WrestleMania 21, I recommend that one because that was just Shelton. He was the only high flyer guy, versatile, athletic guy that was in
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that's the one I recommend. I think the other one I recommended was when Kofi starts getting added, which was, I think, if not 25, it was 24,
Okay.
where he starts coming into it because now we have 2 athletic guys that are in that match with Shelton, because that's when Shelton, I think he's either hurt or he just misses it for other reasons,
Gotcha.
and he comes back also in like 24. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the
I would
second one
say.
I recommend. The third one would have been the one from last year, and this one kind of like fourth.
I would
Okay.
say watch it. It's a recommended match for me, and I had a good time with this match. We had some fun spots. We randomly got to see Tall Kane in this ladder match. You get to see a
Yeah.
young Drew, so watch it. We've done worse than 13 minutes and 40 seconds.
It's kind of a short
We've done
one.
less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for all these people,
Yeah.
that's like, it doesn't feel like it had enough time to cook.
Oh,
Like, because you could have fit more, like, not
Could have
spots,
fit
but
more. Definitely could have
gotcha.
fit more, but it didn't feel rush.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we get Kofi, you get Matt Hardy, you
hmm
get
Yeah.
MVP.
And Kofi, I think what Kofi did, they broke the ladder in two and try to
yeah.
use it as pogo sticks. Like you
Mm-hmm.
get like somewhat little comedy spots with it too sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So at that
mm,
takes us to
this takes us
match
to
number 4.
the Hall of Fame class induction.
Oh,
Yeah. It was
So
Noki was like the main
yeah,
guy, I
we got
think.
Antonio. No, the main guy. I think the highlight was supposed to be Stu,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it was the whole Hart family came out for that one.
oh.
Stu finally gets his time in the sun, and I think
Who's that all the way at the end standing in the suit with the bow tie?
I think it's the announcer,
Is it?
or no, it might be one of his sons. It's hard to
Maybe.
tell from this angle
There's a
because
big family.
Yeah, it
yeah.
is, right?
So with this one, one of the ones that we have here that just recently passed away. But looking at this picture, I would have thought, like, I can't see how, like, Mad Dog would have looked now. But
Mm.
Luna's adoptive father, Mad Dog, was shown. One of the key highlights, if you watch his speech is hilarious. Bob Uecker had a very fun speech.
Oh yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Baseball?
Mr. Baseball, yes. And the boss of Mr. Belvedere, if you ever watched that show.
What? He was?
Yeah, he was. He was in the Mr. Belvedere show.
Mm.
Zombie King, if
Yes.
you ever for some reason have
What?
not heard of Mr.
Have
Belvedere,
you ever watched Mr. Belvedere? It's an
I
old
don't
one.
know.
it's an old television
Not
When
too
did it
show.
come
sure.
out? We're
It
showing our
sounds a
age right
little
now.
familiar, but I'm not 100%.
So I'll give you this premise. So Bob Uecker is a man. He has wife, obviously, and 2 kids,
What?
and they need a nanny. And for some random reason, this British guy shows up at the door, and he's like, "I'm Mr. Belvedere, and I'm here." So he's there bringing his British class to this family.
That is so random.
So
Mm. Okay.
That
yeah,
Maybe I'll
you're
look
gonna
it
make
up.
me want to watch it
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
it ran for a good while.
How many
I want to say it's
seasons?
either 5 or 6 seasons.
Wow, that is a pretty long time.
So
What?
Yeah,
That'd be
another
pretty well
highlight
done.
we had. He had a very inspirational speech. The $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
With his $2 million hair.
He still has $2 million hairstyle for you.
Look at him. Yes. Always a fan of Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. And like Zombie King mentioned, we have Antonio Inoki.
Didn't they throw money
founder.
out into the crowd too?
Yeah,
Which
he
is
I
made it
think
rain.
during the speech
nice
or after the
addition.
speech.
Yeah, after his speech when
Did it
he
have
like
his face on it? Because that would have made it.
no, I think it was actual real $100
It
bills.
Oh,
looked
even
like a real
better.
Yeah.
100. Yeah.
So
They were making it
maybe
rain.
yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
And Antonio Inoki, the New Japan Wrestling founder. Here he wrestled not only Hulk Hogan but Muhammad Ali.
Wow. I'm
Yeah, he
excited.
did
We're
a
supposed
lot.
to see Japan wrestling coming up, right?
Yeah, we will be attending the New Japan Wrestling Show, the Windy City Riot,
Nice.
on April 12th.
I may or may not riot when we're there.
Yeah. All depending. Let's see how
Yeah,
the matches
so,
are.
yeah, so
That's right.
if you are a subscriber of ours, unfortunately, you're going to be out without a lot of new content.
If you're a subscriber of ours and you want to see us riot, comment below.
That's it.
No,
Flood them
we'll be-
with comments.
yeah.
Eh.
Yeah, so after this Hall of Fame, what did you think? Were you familiar with all of these people that were featured here?
Not as a fan growing up, but as a wrestler trying to get as much knowledge in the business. And you need to know, I always say, know your history.
Yeah.
So
Much
definitely.
like hip hop.
Much like hip hop, yes.
Yeah. Know your history, man. Know where everything came from.
Yes.
Yeah. And with this,
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
we move on to Triple H versus Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior, making his WrestleMania debut.
Your guy's favorite, Triple H.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hunter. At this time, I think he's beginning to wind down his career.
Isn't this is his last match, isn't it? And he stops wrestling for a while? Or am I wrong?
No, he just starts wrestling part time.
Yeah.
Like he just
not as often.
Yeah, he's
Mm.
just like how the Undertaker.
Yeah, he comes back for
Yeah, the Undertaker, as he also starts aging in his career, only starts showing up for like the big four events that we had. The big four being the Royal Rumble,
Mhm.
Survivor Series, SummerSlam,
Mhm.
and WrestleMania.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Nice.
well, this match goes for
12 minutes and 6 seconds.
Ooh, okay. So,
It's a decent length.
yeah. What do you think?
Well, average time match.
Well, who are you rooting for? Were you
I
rooting
mean,
for Triple H
yeah,
or were
we-
you
I
rooting
was
for the
a
Celtic
Sheamus
Warrior?
fan at the time.
Ooh,
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
you're a fan of Sheamus too, so
I am a fan of Sheamus. This is in his like heel, but it's not full heel Sheamus.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's still finding his way around being kind of like a heel. But no better way to start off your first WrestleMania debut
Definitely not.
than with Hunter.
yeah, that's true.
So
The King of
he's gonna
Kings.
get you over as a heel.
Mhm.
So, but what about you, Maria?
I was rooting for Sheamus.
You were
Yeah,
okay.
Triple H
Yeah.
still hasn't grown on me.
Hunter still
Yeah,
hasn't
no.
grown on you.
As a fan, no, but as a worker and trying to figure out like there's people I like as a fan,
hmm
and there's people I like this like
There's
when I was coming up and I was looking on like wrestlers on to how to sell and stuff like that. As a kid, never liked Mr. Perfect in my life, but as a wrestler trying to figure out how to sell, Mr. Perfect was Mr. Perfect. Like he was a top-notch seller.
Yeah.
Wow.
It helps that he was born into the business.
Well, he is a he's a fan favorite of Mr. Perfect.
Just
as
like
well.
you, I didn't get into being a wrestler, obviously, but as we've been rewatching these WrestleManias, like we mentioned to you since the first one, I've become a fan of like if we're looking at the early like 80s WrestleManias
Mhm.
of Rick the Model Martel.
hmm
Oh yeah, he was another good one.
Yeah, he's definitely one that grew on me. Like I wasn't a fan of him. Like with me, it was like a standard Mr. Perfect, Ravishing
Mhm.
Rick Rude, Jake the Snake, things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But if I had to say someone that I've become a fan of during that particular first early days of WrestleMania, it would have been Rick Martel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just because of the particular instances, like you, like how to sell, how to get a face over, and things along that line.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to become a wrestler to appreciate, like even like brought some wrestling. Consider all your life, like you know what's a good and a bad match. Like you know the difference. You know who's a good worker and who's better on the mic, who's better in the ring but not so good on the mic, or better on the mic and not so good in the ring. Like you should not watch enough in your lifetime to know all these things by now.
Yeah,
That's true.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But with this, we got a great contrast in
In
a good
tans.
body appearance
Like
here.
in tans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look at that.
we got someone who attends the tanning salon and someone who does not know what the sun
Wear
feels
long
like in such
sleeve
a
shirts
steam.
in the summertime.
Yeah.
But this was a good match. It goes like Zombie King has brought up. We got like lots of back and forth.
Well, they're
Sheamus was the
brawlers for sure, right?
aggressor, and the Hunter's there to put him over and things like that. But as far as making him like a credible threat to him.
We get some backbreakers during this match.
And then like just when you think Sheamus is still gonna be getting the win, a Hunter is actually able to pull it off by reversing his attempt of a power bomb here. He manages to shake out and he hits the pedigree on him for the pin and the win. Now, what did you think about this match, man? Were you happy that Sheamus did not win?
No, I wasn't, because I was rooting for him. But I thought with this match, it had some decent spots, definitely brawlers. But this wasn't a recommended match for me. But I'm curious, Zombie, was it a recommended match for you?
Yeah, definitely. Just the physicality of that match. It's definitely a top-notch match. We're seeing a lot more of wrestlers not being so afraid to get more physical and take more hits. And like me personally, I like there there's three ways to work a match: soft, snug, and hard style. I like to work snug. That's like you're gonna feel it, but we're not gonna kill each other type of thing. So this is a good match for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would like he's like you said, it probably would have been classified like as a maybe like a power match type of thing, and it was just all based on like taking big bumps. They weren't like because Hunters in that lifestyle where it's kind of like, or in that character wrestling style where it's like brash, more physical.
Yeah.
And now he's facing Sheamus, who's obviously a little bit bigger than him, like body wise and also height
I'm
wise.
feeling a sway towards TripleH right now, so I might be coming over to the other side.
Well, the only thing that you probably don't have gotten an experience is like, to me, Hunter has not had that many WrestleMania matches that have been well received, as far as like us critiquing them or like trying to recommend them. But this is because we've kind of narrowed your wrestling education to just WrestleMania.
Is that what it is?
There are other matches that
Yeah.
he's had. Like we did the revisit or the first Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And
yeah, definitely.
that had a spot where Hunter gets hurt by RVD because RVD lands near his throat. And we found out through the research that we did that Hunter and Shawn were supposed to be the last two, and they had not booked the finale in advance.
Gotcha.
They were just going to call everything in the ring and how to book it and how to finish it. But with Hunter being hurt and not being unable to speak, now that created a problem because you can't, tell this guy, okay, I'm gonna throw you to the ropes. We'll do the face buster. We'll do this, and or if he's actually gotten hurt more because of a certain spot that they did together, you wouldn't know. So that's why. Go ahead.
If I have to give you a story to go back on Triple H, and like a good story that you feel like you can like him and appreciate him. It's the story he did with Randy Orton when he punts Stephanie. And like
Yeah,
that segment there when he did like that, the emotion that he showed, the anger and like I feel like that go like if you have to go back and watch the story and to appreciate Triple H, go back and watch that storyline.
That
He
would be the
did,
story.
so the
yeah,
previous WrestleMania, I think, is
Okay.
where they had that one match where uh, Randy Orton was the heel and he was
yeah,
punt kicking. He punt kicked Vince. He punt kicked Shane.
mm-hmm,
Hunter was handcuffed to the turnbuckle at that point, and he's got a hold of Stephanie.
Hmm.
And he not only, I think he not only RKO's her, but he also punt kicks her too.
yeah. It was a
Okay.
good, and then that you just get good matches out of that story too.
That's good. I will follow it because I'm definitely interested. I'm like, bring me over to the other side. It's been a while seeing Triple H in his medieval times outfits. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
King of
yeah.
Kings.
yeah, I was like, he's come a long way.
Mhm.
So is
So
this a recommended match for you then?
since our podcast primarily deals with like not the behind the scene type
Mm-hmm.
of work that in
Mm-hmm.
detail that Zombie King is giving us, but primarily as us as a viewer, us recommending it to a newer fan to make a newer fan like my wife, or for someone like us, longtime viewers of wrestling. If I'm recommending this to make a new fan, no, just because it's a power match without
Mm-hmm.
knowing like the characters, seeing it from why this feud started and things like that. Even though we get the video packages is like a condensed thing, like a little
Yeah,
sizzle
real
reel,
quick.
and you don't get like the whole reasoning, the whole emotion that has been built up for the past month and a half with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're a longtime fan and you are looking to see what feuds, or if you're a Sheamus fan, this is a good introduction for you because you
Definitely
get to
go.
see Sheamus uh, being brought up. You get to see why Sheamus has been like in the top of the company for the time that he was there. I'm not sure if he's still with the company right now.
Oh,
I'm
Sheamus?
not
Yeah,
sure. I
I
thought
know.
he was injured, but
Yeah,
no, it's been a while.
he got married and
Mm-hmm.
then he's disappeared. And then most recently, I'm not sure if it was by accident or if because of his particular views, but he has deleted his Twitter account.
What?
Did
So
not know that. Hmm.
yeah, so
Interesting. You get the inside
Yeah.
tea.
we don't know exactly if he's gonna come back or where his
It says as for Sheamus, his deal with WWE is reported to expire in the first quarter of 2024.
yeah. So that would have been by
But
the end of
that's not
this month.
confirmed.
So
Mhm.
we had to
Mm.
see,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it's definitely
Wait,
interesting. Go ahead.
it says it looks like Sheamus is teasing a return and just in time for WrestleMania 40. So
That's
Hopefully.
that's
Hopefully.
from the Sportster as of February 20th.
I
So
guess we'll see.
we'll have
Yeah.
to see
I'll be
because
sad to see Sheamus go. I feel like he was always not underused. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people do appreciate Sheamus and
yeah,
his worth ethic,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I think
I'll be sad to see him go.
it's just more of a little. Sometimes it's a little bit of a bad luck type of
Mhm.
thing, timing.
Yeah.
Uh, because he has had his opportunity to shine, whether it's been with
Oh,
the
definitely.
Universal title
Mhm.
and with the tag titles. They even give him like a stable when he had the Brawling Brutes with him and things like
Oh,
that. So
he had a good run, I think. Like if he
yeah,
did go, I think he had a solid run to be like to look back and be like, yeah, I did that.
so
That's true.
yeah. So with this, for me, not a revisit for newer fans, but if you want to look at a match that whether you're a Sheamus or a Triple H fan, yeah, this is one that you should probably check out here just so you can see them work. Because it's not that often where they get to, well, especially for Sheamus since he's just starting off, but for Hunter to actually work with a guy that's a little bit bigger than him, and can actually throw him around if he get the opportunity to do so. So
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into this next match.
okay, the next match that we have here has CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. If Rey loses, he has to join the Straight Edge Society.
The storyline was weird for me.
This match,
it wasn't my favorite storyline of Rey Mysterio.
Like, this is so random.
This match goes for 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
I was like, what is Straight Edge again? Was he?
Well, Straight
no
Edge,
drinking,
he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs and things along those lines.
Okay.
So this was actually one of the times that I was a CM Punk fan.
Oh.
I was not a CM Punk fan when he was like technically ECW. But when he was presented to us as a face, there's something about CM Punk where you look at him and I'm like, I just hate that guy.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree.
And
he has a face where you're like, I don't know why, but I would like to punch you. I don't know why. You're probably a cool guy, but you just have a face that's a punchable face.
Yeah, it's like from Step Brothers. Something about my face just wants to go through your face.
Right through your face.
I've had that experience before. We got stuck in what was it when we were in Vegas?
Oh yeah. If you ever go to Vegas, for you viewers, or maybe you Zombie King, if you haven't made it out there, it's always a risk when they get you involved in trying to sell you a timeshare.
Oh yeah.
Never signed up for one of those.
So,
no.
I mean, we didn't sign up for one,
no
thankfully.
To the people that are selling
hey man, do your thing, make money, make money,
but we eventually got to the point where my wife, excuse me, my wife told the timeshare supervisor, "Where please do not come back again. If I see your face here again,
that's it.
I'm gonna punch you in the face."
I was so mad. I am never like that.
And thankfully,
but did they talk to you? Did they come back?
No, he didn't come back.
I hope they caught the message after that one.
Yeah.
I was like, for some reason, this guy's face made me so hostile. I was like, if you don't get out of my face right now.
There's a lot of people that has that face.
So thankfully, we made it out there without.
No blows.
No riots.
Yeah, so
that's it.
What did you think here on this match? CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, Maria?
Yeah, I mean, again, Master of the 619. I love this little lucha. I forget how tall he is. I think he is
like 5'5".
5'5". He's a little bit taller than me. The man can move, and I like to see a young CM Punk. He comes from Chicago. And I like the walkout. They look pretty cool. Serena, Luke Gallows come walking out with him. I
had forgotten that he got booked with Gallows and Serena. I got that picture of the entrance here.
They look pretty cool.
Yeah. I was definitely buying this whole CM Punk is my personal Lord and Savior.
Yeah, it was a good run for CM Punk. I didn't get the whole the beef he had with Rey.
Yeah, I didn't get that, but we did get cameos during the sizzle reel to catch you up on the feud from Aaliyah, his daughter, Rey Mysterio's in real, and Dominic. And
young
at that
Dominic,
point,
young Dominic.
Yeah, this is like the second or third time we actually get to see Dominic, because they also showed him when they were him and Eddie were
when
buying.
he did the custody ladder case or something. Yeah,
the custody for Dominic Mysterio's guardianship.
Dominic been in the business for a long time.
Yeah, and that's something I was gonna bring up with you when you had mentioned the whole following, like in your father's footsteps, if he's been a professional wrestler and things like that. And I know that the issue was like people not wanting to buy Dominic as a face. Well, for me in particular, because I actually had in my mind that I would enjoy Dominic more if he adopted the Eddie mannerisms more, because of that whole custody battle. storyline that's set up.
Mm-hmm.
The kayfabe.
Just like we said earlier, there's something about Dominic where I'm like, I don't like your
I
face.
do.
Yeah. He
I
does have
like
a punchable
his.
face.
Oh my god.
A little
And
bit.
I like that
It's in
he
that
went away
category.
from Rey Mysterio's. I think he had to.
Yeah.
So
Oh, definitely.
and be his own
yeah,
person. So that I'm definitely happy that he went like on his own way.
yes,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's the only thing. I'm glad that like he's found that sometimes for a lot of wrestlers, and you could correct me if I'm wrong because you are a wrestler. Uh, not sure if they're just like not wanting to accept that the crowd is not wanting to accept you as a baby face,
Mm-hmm.
or and maybe they just have like those issues where like
Oh, definitely.
they just want to be loved and they just want that adoration and things along those lines. I know
Definitely.
it's hard because it's like you want, who doesn't want people to love them, and have
Exactly.
those cheers, but
Not
you
me.
get,
Yeah.
if you have the right mentality where it's like what we mentioned before, if you love being a heel, you could just accept people booing you and throwing things at you and
Oh,
just
yeah.
taking it and just making something else with it. So
Don't throw things at me, just booze.
Yeah. Just
and
boost.
you could do that with me. If you
Yeah.
guys see us walking at WrestleMania or walking at WrestleCon
Take it.
You
and
can
things
boo
Take it
like
all
us.
that,
in.
yeah, I'd be like,
Bring it on.
if you want to tell me I
Don't
was
throw things
totally
though.
wrong, yeah,
Yeah.
just you just leave her out of it. You
Yeah.
guys can
Have good
just
aim, guys. Just have
yeah,
Have
good
good aim.
aim.
thank
Just
you.
have good aim. That's
I
all
know
they're
you guys
asking
in
for.
Philly like to throw like frozen snowballs and things like
Oh
that.
no.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. No, Philly crowd, it's a dangerous crowd to wrestle in front of.
I like throw sandwiches.
if you throw sandwiches at me, I might eat one.
The
Yeah.
Phillies.
So throw it wrapped.
Philly steak.
That's it. Don't throw it open. Just throw it wrapped.
That's true.
Yeah,
Couple
yeah,
mayonnaise
yeah.
after
Thank
that.
you. Yeah. Well, getting back to this match, so
Oh,
Yeah.
we strayed.
yeah,
Yeah. Just a little bit.
we do like to go on tangents in this show, but what did you think about this particular thing? I think uh Bray has like, it's not his hair if you haven't noticed in this mask. It's
Oh, he has
attached to
braids.
his
Yeah.
these
I think he
ponytails.
did the Avatar theme gimmick on that one.
Yeah, from the movies. Not
Was it out at the time?
it had
I
been out,
think. I
if
don't
not
know.
the year before.
The
Uh,
first one, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, the first one.
I
Yeah,
never
Not too
finished watching
sure.
the first one.
yeah. Well, but that is inspired. He's supposed to be a Navi. I believe that's what the alien
Okay.
creature is called
I
from
think so. I'm not too sure.
there. So this was not a lot of time for them to get like a full match
Mm-mm.
going on here. And that is the reason why I'm gonna come out and say that I do not recommend this match.
What?
If this match had been given like maybe 4 or 5 minutes more, it would have been able to. You have this feud going in here where it's like CM Punk has been attacking his family personally,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and so we should have had Ray like
More
going
aggressive.
more aggressive, or at least trying to find him a spot where he'd be able to get his like come up, give CM Punk his comeuppance for trying to, you know, mess with his family. And I
Mhm.
don't feel like there was enough time for this match to actually breathe and give us like the full open and close circle of the story.
Okay.
Same. Like I totally agree. I don't like the whole story to it didn't make no sense to me. So as like spot match, cool. But as a story match,
Yeah, I agree with you. This match definitely had a lot of good spots in it. A fan of both wrestlers. I like the walkout, thought that was pretty cool. But this isn't a recommended match for me, which is a surprise because I like Phil. I'm a fan of him.
yeah.
I love Rey
Well,
Mysterio.
50-50 on Phil. Yeah.
Are you 50-50 on Phil?
50-50 on Phil. Like
I don't know if it's because his origin story starts in Chicago.
okay,
So
yeah.
I think I'm, partial to that. But yeah, this was not a recommended match for me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
I,
like same. Like the story to it did made no sense. It was
and
just
you
like let's just throw two guys in the ring. They're both
yeah.
solid workers.
I
Okay.
was like,
And
did
that's,
Ray have a problem? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
he's gonna go straight edge. This is a weird story.
Hmm.
Like, yeah.
And it's weird because like in Ray's WrestleMania history, even like when he wins the belt, his matches don't go very long. They're always
No, I
like
think the longest was like the main the one the 3-way he had with what was it Triple
Kurt
H, Kurt
Angle.
Angle was
Yeah,
probably the longest he had.
yeah. So that's what I was like, and then it wasn't even 1-on-1. They threw him in with like another guy, so it was like
Mm-hmm.
So it was always weird that I guess maybe Vince felt that he couldn't go too long or something. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Yeah.
You have a couple of spots that you have for
yeah. It's
just a
you
few.
can just a few that I was able to get pictures of. So early on, Ray tried to do a 619, but CM Punk catches him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, CM Punk is trying to wear him down. We get him like in a little sleeper, things like this. I did like CM Punk's gear here. He's got that,
I like his
Yeah,
boots.
GI Joe type
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
That is.
yeah. And then CM Punk tries to put it all away after softening Ray up. Ray powers out of this GTS attempt, and that's when he actually does the actual 619 that Serena does not block this time, because that's what ended up happening the first time.
Yeah.
Or the second time that Ray tries a 619. Serena Deeb gets in the way. This time, Serena Deeb is on the other side of the ring, and Ray is actually able to get the 619 for the pin and the win for Ray. Oh.
So Mysterio prevails.
Mm-hmm. And with this
Yeah.
one, then
No straight edge for him.
no,
Yeah.
he's free to take all the booze and
That's
pills.
it.
Drink all the drinks.
Yeah.
That's it. You're still straight. Or crank. I don't know what's not straight edge. Crooked
Anything.
line
Yeah.
edge.
Maybe Coke for Phil if you're
Yeah, I
drinking
don't
Coke
know.
because he's
Yeah,
a
that's it.
Pepsi fan.
That's it.
With
Sorry.
this match, we move on to the long-awaited revenge match for Bret the Hitman Hart. He's back.
I think they waited too
Yeah.
long for this match.
This bit.
He,
A
yeah,
little bit.
it's a no holds lumberjack match.
Which is weird. So guys, tell me, what is a lumberjack match? For those that don't know.
A lumberjack match is you have a certain amount of wrestlers around the ring, and their duty is to make sure you get back into the ring.
Yes.
Now, depending on how the booker puts it in here, if you're a face, sometimes they'll do if they want like the face to prevail, they'll put nothing but face wrestlers around them, and
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
if the face gets thrown out, then they just gently put them back in.
Mhm.
But if the heel gets thrown out, then if the people around the lumberjack or the people around the ring that are the lumberjacks have a personal issue with you, then they start beating you before they put you
Yes.
back into the ring.
Interesting. So there's
Yeah.
no axes, there's no wood.
No axes, no wood,
there's
no flannel, no nothing like that.
no, there's no
No.
blue oxes or anything.
No
I've
blue
been a couple
oxes.
of lumberjack matches. But
Yeah.
yep, hit the nail on the head on that one.
Wow.
Yeah, usually, as a heel, as faces, you just pick the guy up and gently put him back in the ring respectfully. And the heels like to take their cheap shots. So, but
Nice.
the rules is it's pretty much supposed to be just in the ring match. Someone falls out, you throw him right back in.
Yeah,
Cool.
and depending on how you're doing the storyline, like if there's a particular guy that's been trying to, get his revenge,
Mhm.
or some type of like chasing storyline,
Mm-hmm.
in and he's always like escaping out of the ring
Yep.
before you could get to it. This is another way to make sure that the action stays in the ring.
Nice.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's hold on before we get we got a
okay.
comment here. We rarely see jumper.
Lumberjack matches
Thank you.
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is true.
Why is that? I'm
It-
curious.
I think it's more. It was more of a like old school 80s type of
Mhm.
feel matches, like more than and I don't know. I like them, me personally. I think I like doing them more than I like watching them.
Mhm.
It's more fun when you
Yeah,
do
but
lumberjacks. We have a
Don't
lot
forget
of
the
fun out
lumberjill
there.
matches
uh,
either.
what'd you say?
Lumberjill.
Lumberjill. Yeah, we did
I
have
think
one.
I think we had a few lumberjill matches.
Yeah, we had one in WrestleMania. I think it was 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
2-3 WrestleManias ago.
So were you guys excited to see the Hart family out there? What did you guys think about this match? Because
Yeah, I did not really care because I'm not that familiar with the older hearts like
Oh,
Bruce
Mhm.
and other names that probably would have been familiar to other people that probably grew up watching Stampede Wrestling
Oh yeah.
because the hearts were very prominent in there since
Yeah,
their
you had
father did own it.
the Heart Dungeon where a lot of wrestlers in that time like went through
Hmm.
that training and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we did get more of the newer blood wrestlers. We
like
got
Natty?
well, we did get Natty, but here we have David Hart Smith,
Mhm.
who is the son of Davy Boy
Hmm.
Smith, the
Yeah.
British Bulldog, who
Baby boy.
unfortunately at this time is no longer with us because he has passed away. I believe that was a heart attack.
That's a big family.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
we have
Underrated for the wrestling family. I know
That's
everyone's talking
cool.
about the bloodline right now, but I don't
mhm,
like the Hart family was they were deep into wrestling.
yeah.
You're right.
And then we have the heart attack that's being performed here. That's David that's holding up Vince, and this is Tyson,
Yeah, Tyson
TJ.
Kidd.
Yeah, Tyson Kidd, Natty's husband, is getting here in the action. There's not much that happens. I know that you, Maria, wanted this to happen a little bit earlier
Yes.
in Brett's career, but unfortunately, they did have that falling out after the Montreal
Montreal
screw
screw
job
job.
that we
Mhm.
actually went back to revisit as a recommendation by our audience. Who and then you know after Brett leaves, he doesn't have that much of a long wrestling career.
Bret
No, I
Hart is
think
one of
he
my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, he suffers
yeah.
like some concussion issue with
Yes.
Yeah,
Goldberg.
with WCW with Goldberg, yes.
Yeah, and then he just, I guess his belt gets rung where he's just not able to like work properly. So
Wow.
he retires.
Hmm.
And then unfortunately, he has a motorcycle accident later on.
Bret.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a motorcycle accident. That's actually
Man.
what triggers that stroke that he has.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard
Which is,
about the stroke.
yeah, so that's caused either as complications from the motorcycle accident
Mm,
Hmm.
or while they're operating on him while after that.
gotcha.
So yeah, he's no longer able to take any hard bumps. So that's what we
Wow.
get here, where it's primarily everyone else doing the hard work and Vince like putting out no type of offense at all.
Hmm.
He's
No, it's
taking
taking heat. That's
yeah,
it.
He
he's
was
taking the
taking it.
bows, and when Vince eventually gets up, someone gets Brett a chair, and he takes a chair beat down. So,
A long
so he
awaited for.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
Which
eventually
was worse, this beatdown or the original beatdown after the Montreal screw job? Dun dun dun.
Oh
Sorry.
man. I don't
we
know.
wouldn't
Yeah.
know. We
You all
didn't.
heard the story though, right? He got
Yeah,
Yeah.
knocked out.
I think this one was
Definitely.
probably the worst one
Told
because
him not to come back to that room.
Yeah.
he
And
told him.
you know who made him go to that room?
Oh,
Undertaker.
you're right. It
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
was
made
the
him go to the
Undertaker.
room because Undertaker was not happy with the whole situation. He was like, "Nah, you have to go handle that." And he made Vince McMahon go in there and go face to face, and that's when the whole I don't know with the left hand or right hand, but the hand got thrown.
He
I
got
think
he
Brett
got
is a
knocked
lefty,
out.
so I think it might have been with the
Is he a
left.
lefty? He
Yeah,
got knocked the
yeah.
Oh,
F
is he? I'm
out.
a lefty.
Are you a lefty too?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
What?
that'd be cool if he's
So
left-handed.
I
That
think he
is.
is. I think
Nice.
like when we watched that Dark Side of the Ring thing
Yeah.
when we're doing it, he says that he's like, yeah. So I grabbed my left hand, curled it up, and bam,
Hmm.
I
and knocked him out. Like
Yeah,
and he's like, I literally lifted him up in my punch. He
like a
knocked him.
cartoon or something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Vince taps out to his sharpshooter.
that's his brother in the ring that you're showing right
Yeah,
now too,
that's
right?
I
Bruce.
believe
That's
so.
the guest referee. Yeah, and that's another one of his brothers. I'm not sure which one. But question for you, Zombie King:
Yes.
the Scorpion Deathlock or the Sharpshooter? Do you have a preference over which one is the
Mm,
best method of doing this particular maneuver?
excellent question.
Scorpion Deathlock.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a Sting
Any
fan.
reason why? Because it's the same thing. It's just a
It's the
different
same
name.
thing.
Yeah.
I think when they did my big memory growing up was WCW versus Monday Night
Okay.
Wars. I watched. I remember very little. of WWF, like Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect. Like I remember those guys, but show wise and sitting down, it was WCW for me. So
Mhm.
Sting was like a reason why I also watched WCW. So I watched a little more WCW than I did Raw.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. What about you, Maria?
What about you?
Scorpion Deathlock or the
I
Sharpshooter?
guess a sharpshooter, just
Okay,
because I'm more familiar with it. So we'll go with that one.
all right.
Yeah,
And
but
me,
you
I had
act my sister is sharpshooter all day. That was her favorite move to put on
okay.
us. That was her go to. That was her finish. That was her
That's
take
awesome.
home.
Oh, okay.
That is super cool.
All
Yeah.
right. And with this, we move on. We no one's recommending this match, right?
Oh no.
Well,
I
I mean, it
mean,
was long awaited, the
yeah.
Hitman and the
Yeah.
Chairman,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
with
mean, as
that,
a fan, unless you know the history and you do your research, you're just gonna look at this match and be like, okay,
Yeah.
you're
yeah.
right. Yeah, long awaited, but it was a miss for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that brings us to the next match. They were a tag team, and Edge gets hurt. He tears his Achilles. So that's
Mhm.
what brings it this whole feud between Chris Jericho and Edge.
Edge.
Yeah, this match is for the World Heavyweight title, or as some people may know, as the Big Goldie Belt.
The big gold.
She's
Uh,
a beautiful belt.
Yeah, 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Who are
Yeah.
you rooting for, Maria?
I was rooting. Well, this is tough because I like Jericho and I like Edge, but I was rooting
Mm.
for Jericho, Grumpy Jericho.
Oh, okay.
Grumpy,
I was
yeah.
rooting for Grumpy.
Yeah.
He's always
Yeah,
grumpy every time I see him in an
yeah. With this
interview.
one, I also would have been on the Chris Jericho bandwagon just because he was coming back. He's a heel. This is before. This is when he starts bringing in like more of the heelish
Mhm.
staples that we kind of see now going forward.
Was he wearing a
So
scarf at the time? Was he doing
no,
that
the scarf
gimmick?
the
No, not
scarf
the
comes a
scarf
little
gimmick.
bit later. Yeah, that's
Okay.
when he starts bringing out the list
He was
Yeah.
scarfing.
and everything. But he brings in like these staples that we have now with heels, where it's like if you had long hair, you had the short hair now.
Mhm.
You start wearing suits. The only one that doesn't adhere to being a heel while wearing a suit is Cody,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which I have a big issue with that one, and we can probably touch on that later if I remember
Yeah.
Zombie King.
That's
But
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and then so he has this thing where I'm just loving him as a heel. I loved him as Lionheart Jericho back in
Mhm.
WCW. I loved him as the Man of 1,004 Holds and the Y2J Jericho and
I think that was
things.
my favorite
So
Jericho, maybe.
there's
Y2J.
just
Y2J.
Yeah.
there's nothing that of Jericho has done up to this run. Uh, if we're talking about in the future, I love the thing that he does when he goes to Japan and he
Mhm.
becomes the painmaker.
Painmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that particular part. But I think Jericho right now at his current run as AEW has hit like a wall creatively. Because I was loving like the first 2 years when he had his little run there and his little stable, but now it's
Mhm.
kind of like I think with Kenny Omega getting hurt and just putting a kibosh on things and him just being on his own, maybe he'll eventually
Def-
find something else. But
yeah. No, I did. I think you're right on that. I think when Kenny went, I think Kenny was bringing some life back into Jericho, and when that kind of went, and Kenny got the
diverticulitis,
medical is yeah the medical yeah, and that kind of hurt him, and you know other things and outside of wrestling don't help either. That
no,
whole whatever thing they're excusing him for, that doesn't help. But I mean, Jericho, he's a goat. He's one of the greatest. But right now, I think he's fighting. Me personally, I think he's to hang it up. I was trying not to be so blunt
Mm.
about it, but me personally, I think he's at that point of his career where you have nothing else to prove. You're Chris Jericho. You're Chris Jericho. I think
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's now you're kind of just tarnishing your
I gotcha.
career a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, that makes
Well,
sense.
well, hopefully he can find some type of creative way to reinvent himself if he's gonna plan on continuing. I believe his AEW contract is coming up soon.
Mm.
So, and
Me
I think
personally, I like him as a commentator. I think he
yeah,
should definitely stick with commentating.
yeah, and I think the recent thing I read is someone had asked him if he plans on going back to the E, and he said he has no plans on going back to the WWE. He loves being at AEW, and he's hoping to be there for a long time in the
Oh,
company he's helped building.
I guess time will tell.
Yeah,
Yes,
time will tell. Me personally, I would like to have him finish his career with the E. I
Hmm.
feel like that's where you, other than WCW, that's really where everyone know you from. Like that's to me, that's your home. So I feel
Finish
like if
strong.
you're gonna retire, at least retire there.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
Yeah,
sense. Finish strong.
yeah. Maybe
yeah,
have one more match like they do with sports guys where they just sign for that 1 day contract and
that's
then
it.
they're like, yeah, just have one match. You don't
That's
have to
it.
go. You don't have to. Maybe you could come work a plan with TK
I thought you
and
were gonna say the
Hunter.
dirtiest player in the game, and he
No,
would pop up every so often.
uh,
Just one more, one more. I want to be a
Just one
bad
more
one.
here and
no.
Yeah,
there.
I think hopefully Jericho is not like Rick, who just has that voice in the back of his head who's like, you can still do this.
Just one more, guys.
Just one more,
one
and then
more.
your body's like, hey Rick, I'm like 74 years old. Please stop
Yeah,
doing this to me.
He's still going. So I
Yeah.
have a
yeah. Good old Rick.
question.
Yes.
So the start of this match for me is boring. So I'm curious. I'm like very curious. It doesn't pick up until after that edge kick.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think about this match?
You're 100% right. It's a very slow, methodical match. More, um, guess storytelling, but the story wasn't really telling for me. Like I wasn't too behind this match. I wasn't too interested in this match. Granted, I am a fan of both, but yeah,
Well,
it
yeah,
was just there.
this is like they went in there working. They went in there, I guess, trying to sell that Jericho superior
Mm-hmm.
and that Edge maybe not be fully healed from his ankle or from his Achilles. So they were working kind of like they were trying to work like a body part type of story
Yeah,
where he's gonna overcome this injury. He is, you know, he is healthy. He is gonna get his revenge on it. And
definitely.
I did not like this. Like you mentioned, the match starts off slow, but it's supposed to be because it's like working
Working the injury and
angle, and
yeah,
I don't think this actually needed that particular like way. It could have started, just having Edge just going out there and just wailing on him, just like we had that one match start off earlier, with Randy, and just start off hot where
yeah,
he's hitting
Yeah, the
people and
audience.
hitting like
When I was looking at the
definitely.
audience, they
yeah.
looked a little bored too. So I was just like, okay. I was like, this is taking a little bit to build up. But with that, I'm curious, is this a recommended match for you guys or is this a pass?
It's a this one's definitely 50-50 to me
Hmm.
because you can recommend it, but you can also simply be like, it's a good match at the end of the day, but not something where I'm gonna go back and watch it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, this
So
was a
I
pass
would
for
probably
me.
say you can, but it's also a skip.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was wrestling with this too. Like I
yeah.
was like, I like these
It's so
guys.
borderline because they're both
Yeah.
great workers. Yeah,
The only way this actually would be like, it's not a recommended for if you want to make a new wrestling fan out of it,
yeah. No, I agree.
because you have to watch from point A to point B, and you have to
Hmm.
actually not only see that sizzle reel, but you actually have to be invested at them when they were a tag team, because you
Mm-hmm.
have to go through that whole psychology
Were
of
they a
their
tag team with
yeah,
each
they were a
other?
tag
Oh,
team.
I
They were a
believe
wow.
tag
so.
team at the before Jericho. I mean, before Edge gets hurt,
Okay.
and that's what started this whole thing.
Was
Like
that SmackDown or was it SmackDown? Or
I don't
tag team?
remember where
I
they
gotta
were a
look it
tag
up.
team. Where they're unified tag team titles. The belts are
Oh, okay.
unified.
Yes, yes.
So they're holding both the Raw and SmackDown ones.
Mm-hmm.
So Edge tears his Achilles, and then I'm not sure if it's like right after that
Mhm.
or a few months after they have to vacate the titles.
Gotcha.
But excuse me, Jericho ends up going on these rants where he's like, "I would still be a tag team champion if it wasn't for Edge and
Gotcha.
his weak Achilles and things like that."
Part of
So
the kayfabe or part of a real story? Because
no,
Mm,
it's part of
oh,
building
okay.
up. It's part of
yeah.
the kayfabe, but it's also like some
It's
shoot
hard to
in it,
tell with
some
Jericho
truth in it.
sometimes.
I know that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Because
So
I'm like, is
yeah,
it
but
part of the kayfabe
I
or
mean,
was
he
it
really
him being
doesn't
grumpy?
need that tag team because eventually he does have the world's heavyweight championship.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's all part of building the storyline, building the feud. So like I guess they had the timetable of when Edge was coming back. So
Right.
they're like, let's start building it. We have a storyline to go with, and they went with this. And
Hmm.
I just feel like whoever plotted this out with them was not reading exactly maybe how the crowd, and it's tough
Mhm.
because when you're pre-planning this, you have a certain way where you think it's going to hit with the crowd, but
Definitely.
you also
Well, I
have
guess
to
that's a
have
good
that.
question. Is that a good question for you? Is like, do y'all pre-plan to see what's gonna hit with the crowd,
Uh,
or is
Me
it easier to read?
personally, I like to. So if I'm working on a match, I don't like to go step by step. I do period points. Like,
Mhm.
okay, you have your opener, you have your shine, cut off, hope spots, take home finisher. I don't like to too much of step by step planning because you wrestlers tend to act it out and not react to the moment. And then once you start acting, it's less believable. It's like you can tell body movements. You can just tell like I know what's coming next
Mhm.
Right.
instead of just reacting to what happens because I always tell like if I'm helping someone out how many cool things you've done in your life without trying or by accident.
Mhm.
So the more you try to make the spot look crisp and clean, the less it's gonna come out crisp and clean.
Mm, I hear
Sometimes you just
you.
gotta let certain things happen and react because like a lot of times you can plan a spot and the spot gets messed up. And if you're acting, you don't know what to do. But if you're reacting, you're just reacting to the moment that's happening, and everything's more natural.
And that's how
Okay.
the beginning of this match looks, is that they're like going move to move to move,
Mhm.
just kind of like knocking them down. And
Yeah.
then
This.
finally towards the end is when you're getting
Yeah.
like the reaction part.
And this is one
Yep.
where you just needed someone to be like, the crowd's not digging it. Let's just we'll just call it as we go
Yeah.
along and things
Call it
along.
audible. Change it
Yeah.
One of
up.
my one of my favorite reactors, Dwayne. I love The Rock.
Oh
The-
yeah.
I love his like expressions. And then Shawn Michaels, I love the way that he reacts too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Just
So
some of the best.
yeah.
yeah, so with this one match,
We're
you're not
going
recommending it, right, Beth?
no. Now we
Okay.
could talk about
Yeah.
your favorite match.
We could talk about the 10 Diva tag match,
Oh yeah.
Team Vicky, which has Alicia Fox, Layla, Maurice, Michelle McCool, and Vicky Guerrero versus Mickey James,
Pack
Gail
ring.
Kim, Kelly Kelly, Beth Phoenix. Uh, yeah, so this is the only one that I thought was kind of like worthy of putting up there. So we have
Yeah.
the Divas coming down. This match thankfully goes for 3 minutes.
So this match
Yeah.
was a
That's
pass
it.
for you.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
Zombie, was this match a recommended match for you?
I mean, if you're a female wrestler that loves wrestling, of course. If you're a new wrestler trying to get into wrestling, maybe not the first one. No
Yeah.
disrespect to the women wrestlers, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they weren't doing a lot. I thought when they had the Trish and the Mickey James match, I
Mhm.
think it was either in 19 or 20.
Think
I
so.
thought that would have been like that was a great match to
Yeah.
me at that time. And they actually, and it was probably incidental, but they actually had blood, and they had this one screenshot that I put up there where Mickey
Mhm.
has like a mouthful of blood, and it was just like a very primal and very like like image that you have not seen, like a shocking image that you have not
Yeah.
seen as part of the WWF WE version of women's wrestling.
Mhm.
And I thought that was going to start catapulting the women's division, but
Definitely.
then it kind of didn't go that way. It kind of like regressed back. Like I'm not sure if the injuries at that time had caused, things to fall by the wayside, because you always have to pivot due to injuries or due to personal issues
Well, if you
with
see,
like contracts and things like that,
yeah,
maybe.
Mhm.
I mean, if you watch Just Match and you see wrestling now with women, it's definitely night and day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, in
Yeah, I
comparison,
was definitely. I was just looking at like the lineup,
mhm.
like that. None
Yeah,
of
there's
these,
some good
like, I
wrestlers
don't
that
think
could
none
have
of them
just
are
had.
still with the E right now.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of wrestlers that are known to be good wrestlers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maurice does a good job. She's a good worker.
Gail Kim
Eve,
was a great worker.
yeah, Gail Kim and Mickey James and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, I feel like that era, you had great female wrestlers, and then
Mhm.
you just wasn't using them properly. And what you
Yeah,
was doing with them is like, let's just do an 8-on-8 match, and it's not really showcasing anything. Like at that
exactly.
time, you had some women that you can build storylines and stuff like that, and you kind of just put them in an
Yeah.
eight woman tag match.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, like let's have them wrestling on a bed or something like that. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
you could have built at least one or two storylines for
a lot
that
of stuff that was
WrestleMania
yeah.
to
Yep.
Yeah.
showcase the women wrestling a lot better than just like
Yeah.
they just put all the females in one ring.
Yep.
So this was a pass.
This is a pass for me too.
Yeah.
And with that, we move on to John Cena versus Batista for the WWE Championship. This match goes for
13 minutes and 30 seconds.
Maria. You are a fan of John Cena,
Yes.
and you are a fan of Batista as an actor.
I I am a fan of him as an actor. Guardians of the Galaxy, that Amna Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, Knock in the
Okay.
Woods, I think it's called.
That was creepy. I was just talking to my dad about that one not too long
Nice.
ago. Have
Yeah,
you watched it?
not yet, but I definitely gonna watch it. I
It's
do consider Batista one of the best wrestlers turned actors. Like
oh,
he's not like The Rock. He's only in one role.
Right.
He's only playing the badass, the hero. That's it. John
imagine.
Cena, I feel like he's just getting stuck on that comedy role stitch. Yeah, like that's all I've been seeing him in. I
But
haven't
what about
really
his
seen
series that he's in?
The Peacemaker.
Yeah, have you seen
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker?
Yeah.
I seen Peacemaker, but it's still that comedy
Thing?
like
Yeah. He still had throws
role.
those one-liners or those
Yeah,
reaction
like
shots.
with Batista, he's getting. I think like he's doing scary movies. He's doing serious movies. He's doing
Yeah.
comedy. He's doing action. He's doing drama. He's definitely putting his hand everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely is. Because even The Rock, I think he came out with that superhero movie and we were rooting for him. Like
Hmm.
we really wanted it to go well, but it wasn't that great of a movie.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no, what was it, Black Adam? What was
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Black
one?
Adam.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I was
we're
like, oh,
excited
this
to
is
see
gonna
it.
be a movie. Everyone been talking about that role for him since he's did that
He's,
switch over.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you thought it was gonna be awesome. And we're a
Yeah,
fan of superheroes and comics too. So we're just like, um, it was okay.
yeah.
A little
Too much
lackluster.
of a build up to be. I think we all went in with high expectations,
Okay.
Yeah.
and it was like, that's it. That's
Yeah.
all we got.
Yeah.
So we
Well,
have two Titans wrestling. Who are you rooting for?
I think with this
I think
one,
yeah, I think at this time I was rooting for John Cena, but I was always a low key not low key, but I always like Batista. Either face or heel, I was always a fan.
I like Batista too. He's just huge in stature, big guy.
Mhm.
I know he's more of like a brawler, but I think you need your brawlers with wrestling too.
Definitely.
So I was looking forward to this match. Was it a what went well for you? I'm kind of curious during this match.
Mm, I mean, the pace of the match and everything was pretty good.
Mhm.
Just how they work. I feel like they work well with each other. The chemistry with them, like it wasn't it didn't look like a struggle for them to put on a good match.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I was not a fan of either of these guys. Um,
Tell us how you really felt.
I'm still unable to get on the John Cena bandwagon as a wrestler. And for Batista, I just didn't like him. Like
All right, it's not
when
the first
you,
time. If
it,
you ask one of our Martin, he say he's the most overrated champion of all time.
What? Which one? Batista?
Batista.
Or... Oh.
Yeah, no, Batista.
yeah. And when he came back for like that rematch with Hunter, I
Mm.
just would call him Batista.
He
Yeah,
did
no, it
say that a lot.
wasn't the best.
Batista.
Yeah, so and that whole thing, we'll get to it, but that whole it never made sense to me. So yeah, for this match, I did not care, and back then, and I don't care now. But like, I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, don't watch this match because I don't like these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm gonna say I don't recommend any new fans come out and watch this match. Like, there an entry point for new fans? Yeah, because you might have seen these guys in a movie, and you're like, well, John Cena was a wrestler, Batista was a wrestler. Maybe I should go out and see why it's worth watching this match. You
Mm-hmm.
know, why maybe some guy in Hollywood was like, I don't know about these guys, but we could at least put them in movies because they look good wrestling.
Yeah.
But I this match, like, I think was maybe scripted wrong
Mm-hmm.
for the match that you probably expected. Like my wife pointed out, these guys are big guys. They're brawl. They're
There were a
this
lot of
would have been
body
like the
slams.
beginning
Yeah.
of meaty men fighting
Yeah.
meaty.
Big
But
meat match. That's
yeah,
what they're calling these
yeah.
big guy matches now.
Yeah, so it's weird that that we got this type of beginning to a match,
Mm-hmm.
and we have some spots where you figure that they should be getting some type of crowd reaction,
Right.
and the crowd is just not giving anything in
No.
particular to certain spots. Like if you're a fan that's going for John Cena, he does like a five knuckle shuffle off the top turnbuckle,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and you should be like, oh my god, I've never seen that before. And he had to up it up another thing, and there should be, if you're cheering for the face, that you should be getting like that pop where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and it's not getting anything.
There's
So
Yeah.
not a lot of caring behind. I
mhm.
definitely see that. The only reason I'll say for a new fan to watch it, because I always consider John Cena, um, the Ryu or the Liu Kang, like something easy to do. Like
Yeah, yeah,
anyone
yeah,
can pick up a controller on Street Fighter and play with Ryu.
yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, he's a very easy character to get used to. You know, same thing with Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat. A
Yeah.
very easy character to get used to. So
Right.
I think any John Cena's match, because he doesn't do a lot of moves, doesn't do a lot of stuff. So I think anything for a new fan to watch the John Cena is very easy because it's
1, 2, 3. Or
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
paint
exactly. It's
by
very
numbers.
simple. It's not. I don't want to call it simple, but
Mm-hmm.
it's simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the same moves going back and forth with each other. There's a
Hmm.
lot of body slams, um,
Spine
spine
busters,
busters.
things like that. Yeah.
Again, Cena, part of the nation. I'm a fan of John Cena from beginning to now. And like you said, with his acting, it is kind of like one sided. But with this match, I definitely expected more. I was like, you have these two big guys in the
Hmm.
ring. What are we going to see? And we've seen good matches with John Cena before.
Hmm.
I think we talked about that triple threat. But with this, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Um, Not a recommended match for me. It's a pass. Do they have technique? Are they strong? Do they have the build? Do they have the look? Yeah, they have all of that. But this match for WrestleMania was kind of boring. So I'd
Yeah.
say
I
pass.
agree. Yeah. It wasn't as like I said, any match for John Cena for a new guy for a new fan.
Yeah.
He's so simple, maybe, but as a fan who's been watching wrestling, pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with this one here, if we're ready to move on,
Yeah. What's the next one?
we have The Undertaker
Okay.
versus the Heartbreak Kid, the second match at a WrestleMania, the Streak versus the Career.
Yeah.
This match, it goes for.
Did you guys cry? Or was it
No,
just
I
me?
think that was just you.
Uh,
This match goes for close to 24 minutes.
yeah.
Uh, so, Maria, we saw this match at the last WrestleMania, and you are a fan
But this
of
is different
HBK.
because it was career ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was monumental. Like seeing Ric Flair's career, and this match made WrestleMania 26 for me. It's a recommended match, hands down.
No, yeah.
Not only because of the personalities, the wrestling was really good from the start. I think you expect nothing less from wrestlers like The Undertaker and Shawn HBK. Mr. WrestleMania. This match was awesome for me. And I did cry at the end. So.
Yeah.
But there are a
Very
lot of people in the
emotional.
audience that were
Yeah.
crying too. So
Definitely.
Yeah. It's it was kind of like the end of a childhood hero if you're thinking
Definitely.
about it for
Yeah.
some of these fans, especially for me, because at that point this is WrestleMania 26, so I'd been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
So let's got a comment here from Martin. If HBK would have stood retired, he would have had the best retirement in wrestling. Yes, I think Martin is
spot on.
alluding to what
I think
happens
so.
afterwards
He comes back in
when
2018.
he decides to unretire because Vince McMahon is like, hey, I just got this whole wealth of money from the Saudis.
Exactly.
Let's go out there.
You want some?
Yeah, I can't get Yokozuna. They wanted me to bring Yokozuna. I had
Oh,
to tell
yeah.
him that he's no longer alive. So
Oh my God.
they're like, yeah, just
Yeah.
bring HBK then. But yes, completely agree. This match is kind of similar to the match that they had at WrestleMania 25.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of changes. We get this match starting with the entrances. WrestleMania 24, I actually had switched. Like in my mind, I thought that one had a regular entrance, and 26, this final one had the one where he descends
From the top, and
from the top.
Taker came
But I
from the
had it.
bottom.
Yeah,
One
I
of
see.
the, one of the coolest entrance,
Yeah,
I
It
consider.
is.
and that would have made more sense in this one because the Undertaker comes out like Gangrel
Yeah.
from underground, and this would have been the part where you would have been better to have the contrasting entrances.
Mm-hmm.
But this, we didn't get it, and even though that's one of my little gripes with this one is
The introduction.
it's because maybe you wanted HBK to come out more focused, but he still kind of like still does his normal things. He still has his fireworks, so
Yeah.
it like
I love his wrestling gear.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have become a fan of his wrestling gear
I mean,
throughout
he has beautiful
the
outfits.
WrestleManias that he's been with us
Yeah.
since I think 8 WrestleManias since 19.
Except for those brown pants, that one WrestleMania. those
No,
were
that was
great.
a Survivor Series.
Oh, Survivor Series.
Yeah. Now there's wrestlers still trying to replicate his old motocross boots that he had.
Oh yeah.
They were old I think motocross, I think, or dirt bike boots or something like that. And there's still wrestlers like trying to like get them customized so they still look like that or something like. So
Yeah,
his inspiration is still out there still to this day.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this match, because of its career versus the streak, they decided to up the ante and kind of make it a no DQ. Because if you have your career on the line, you gotta be able to
Yeah,
throw
man.
everything and anything at
That's
the
it.
Undertaker. So we get like a lot of good spots here. I like when they take it outside. Sean tries to do like his like iconic moonsault kind
Mhm.
of from the apron, but Undertaker catches him, and then eventually he tombstones the Heartbreak Kid onto the mats on ringside. I thought that was a cool spot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nervous. I was like,
The
oh.
other spot I enjoyed was the one where another type of thing, but this is done on the English announce table, where
Yeah, change it up that day. Let's
yeah,
take
they
it
had
easy on
to,
the Spanish table.
yeah, they do like a Shawn gets a little quick super kick, and then the Undertaker lies down onto the table, and then he does the flying elbow drop on him and through the announcer table. You know what was weird with this WrestleMania is normally like Vince likes to throw like all these celebrities
Mm-hmm.
that are attending, but we didn't get that in this one.
We had a few.
No,
We
I
actually
think
had to find
yeah.
them on our own.
Maybe it's because it's in Arizona.
But we saw behind the announcers, we saw Freddie Prinze Jr.,
Emma Stone,
Emma Stone,
one of the Culkins.
Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, it was a packed house for celebrities that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess it was Seth Green. There's someone wearing like a little
It was
like
Seth
a
Green.
newspaper. It was hard to tell.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But during that spot where I just talked to you, where it was HBK doing the elbow drop,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody runs up. We're assuming it's Seth Green that's wearing this hat, and he's taking a camera with the big. He's taking a picture with the camera. For you kids that may be watching this, the people used to have cameras. They didn't
Yeah,
just use
digital.
their
We had to go.
phones. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have no
So this
iPhone.
guy's using like a big professional camera. But there's a
Mm.
celebrity that I noticed because I am a fan a little bit of his movies,
He's
but
really proud of this.
but Clark Duke. Do you know who Clark Duke is?
That sounds so familiar.
If
I'm
we've
bad with
seen
names
him.
though.
You don't have
Yeah,
a photo
but
of him, do you?
I don't have the picture of it. But if you ever watch The Office, like towards the end last season, he
Okay.
comes out. He's Dwight Jr.
Dwight Jr.
Yeah, he wears the glasses. He was also in Hot Tub Time Machine. He's
Oh, I didn't know what you're
1
talking
and
about. I
2.
watched The Office. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
The Office, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the picture in my head.
Yeah, so that guy's in there, and
Isn't that him?
I'm
I
like,
was
that's
like,
Clark
what?
Duke, but I didn't know his name, and I go, that's Dwight Jr. So, but it was just fun to see because it's not mentioned anywhere in the
No.
telecast and things, so it was fun.
I was like, I don't know if he was famous then though.
Yeah,
Or like,
yeah. I don't know if Hot Tub Time
No.
Machine comes out later that year, but
Yeah.
it comes out in 2010. But
Yeah.
it was fun to see like there was actual celebrities, but we actually didn't have Vince putting them down our throats like we had been getting before in the past.
Oh,
'cause
like
yeah.
everybody
before,
in the front row
yeah,
and yeah.
Yeah, I think
No.
they didn't. Hopefully, Vince didn't want to take no spotlight away from the main event and
Mhm.
give all the spot and attention to that because the retirement, Shawn Michaels, he's you know like a goat. There's no
yeah,
argument about it. So
yeah, and I
hopefully
think
that was his mindset at the time.
yeah, they
That's
did
true.
a great job. Like even with this match where it was kind of like paint by numbers, kind of similar to the first
Mm-hmm.
match, but it still did a great job of like building that psychology where the Undertaker does his old school and he
Mm-hmm.
does the normal stuff, and then he kind of hobbles a little bit,
He does.
and
He had like a leg injury during
you're
the
like,
match.
oh,
Yeah.
he's got hurt, and he does have leg issues.
Oh yeah.
So if you're a Smart Mark a fan, you're like, is this real or is this part of the work?
Yeah. What match? I think I can't remember. It was a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
Either
the Mick
with
Foley
Shawn
one.
Michaels. Was it Mick
Mick,
Foley?
Mick
Where he was
Foley, he's
wrestling with a
wrestling the
broken foot the whole time?
yeah,
Ooh. Is
Yeah.
that like for real
yeah.
or
That was the
No,
first
yeah.
one. Yeah,
okay? Because I was like, I could see
Tape
that being for real.
yeah, tape works wonders in the wrestling business.
Ooh.
so yeah, he worked that match, and you're like, is he hurt? And they did a great job. I'm assuming it's part of the work because that's the body part that Shawn's
Mm-hmm.
working throughout, and you're holding on as a Shawn Michaels fan.
Well, he's the icon that can still go.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's like he can do it if he manages to weaken the Undertaker's leg enough. And I like throughout this match we get like little callbacks throughout like people that Shawn has wrestled throughout his career. And like people may not have picked up on this,
Mm.
but he gives he takes from Kurt Angle and he puts the Undertaker in an ankle lock.
Oh yeah,
And
he
when
did. Yep.
he faced off with him, that's the move that Kurt Angle puts him in. He even does the whole thing what Kurt Angle put on him, where he kind of wraps his legs around the Undertaker's legs and still
Mm-hmm.
holding on to the ankle. I
Mhm.
like that particular spot. I also like, he puts him in the figure four. He just retired Ric Flair. 2 WrestleManias ago, and here we go. He's putting that another move that he learned along the way, quote unquote. To add to, like, it kind of feels like he's been preparing for this match his whole
Mhm.
life, his whole career, and he's just throwing everything at the
That's it.
Undertaker.
Yeah, everything he got, everything he learned throughout his career, definitely.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this match.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, now the first one is a little bit of a favorite more to me,
Same.
because we get the Shawn being Shawn, like the cocky Shawn. He has a big
Mhm.
entrance and things
Mhm.
like that. And this one we got a different side of Shawn, like, you know, the last Western
Yeah,
shooter outlaw trying to go down in the blazes glory. And
definitely.
he knows when, and they set up that whole ending perfectly, where he's just like telling them, like, doing that cutthroat thing
Yeah.
Mhm.
after the Undertaker's having like
Yeah, the
remorse,
opening
like.
spot for that
Oh
match
yeah,
was
that was
was
tough.
spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's where we get like this. I got some pictures here. We got the face off, so you see the
That's
height
it.
difference. And
Yeah.
it's always amazing to me, even though I've watched these matches, that there are occasions when Shawn actually gets the Undertaker near, like, he hits him with sweet chin music near his face a couple
Mhm.
of times.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's always, I'm always amazed that he's able to do that, seeing the height difference. And this is the first spot, like, right away. It's not like we've been watching wrestling a while, but you know that this isn't gonna happen. Like the choke slam, like right away,
Yeah,
is
they
not
worked
gonna
into it.
yeah. And this is the part where I show you, like, he's working the leg, he's got the figure four, and we got lots of sweet chin musics that come here. I think this is the one where I was talking about, just a quick pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And in the end, after the second tombstone, Undertaker wins, and Shawn Michaels has to go off into the sunset. That lasts about 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our four-time WWE champion, three-time World Heavyweight champion, two-time Royal Rumble winner, first WWE Grand Slam champion to note. And then our hero goes off into the sunset.
Yeah.
That's it.
I would rewatch this match. That's how good it was.
Oh
And like
yeah.
I said, I think this definitely made 26.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think WrestleMania was made just for this match. Like that whole card was just this. Like we're just gonna have matches, but this WrestleMania is for this match. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like you have your titles and all that, but this the match they had last year was I considered one of probably the best match ever happened at WrestleMania. That's what I considered like that match. Psychology, pop, the emotional contact, the caring for the match is like top notch. Did it this match top that match? No, but it's hard to top you did something for the first time. It's always
Yeah.
gonna be hard. But did it come close? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the few matches that's a highlight in this one, because to me this seemed like a very average WrestleMania.
Mhm.
Like, this seems more like, if you're a fan, like a longtime fan, or if you're someone that's actually working in the industry, that would be more beneficial for someone to go back and revisit.
Mm,
But
100%.
as a newer fan, that's primarily like what we gear this podcast to. This isn't a very exciting WrestleMania for anyone to revisit.
Yeah. So with that,
Yeah. With that, like, with our road to WrestleMania, we've been
Mhm.
giving like Raw and SmackDown tidbits, like where we think like the card may be going and things along those lines.
Gotcha.
Uh, do you want to go, or you have any thoughts on what's been happening on Raw or SmackDown that you want to go over with?
I
Or
mean, that it to me wrestling's in the Rock's words, it's cool again. It's exciting. It's starting to become unpredictable. I feel like wrestling has been very, very predictable lately. Like you can watch 2 minutes of the match and be like, you already know who's going over. You already know this, you just know everything. So I think wrestling right now, in Brock's words, cool again. Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. The only thing I don't really particularly like is they had announced that there's gonna be like this elimination like style type of matches for this 6-man like ladder tag
Yeah,
match.
me personally, I
And
was hoping they for the title split. My crew thinks something different, but I like the title split.
I
They say unified it, make it one title.
well the thing is with that is I understand why it should be separate
Mhm.
because it brings like another title for both of the brands. And the unified one, I always had this vision where if you unify a title, that you should be building the divisions for both of those.
Mhm.
So those tag champions should be able to appear on a TV show when it's warranted.
Yeah.
Like if Judgment Day, they're primarily a Raw talent.
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly.
So SmackDown should be building that particular tag more than Raw, that tag division more, just because you want them to appear more. You want them to have more shots at it.
Yeah.
And I think this is like, I'm gonna be accusatory, but I think this is just plain lazy.
Oh,
Is the
Yeah.
way
Let's just
that
get
they're
a
going
couple of
into.
more guys on the card
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah, the championship matches here so far. I don't see anything else that's like building towards anything that I would actually want to see. Of course, we're getting The Rock possibly on both nights because if he ends up beating Seth and Cody Rhodes, uh, then the Bloodline makes their own rules, in which we're all speculating that The Rock may be a special guest referee if they get the Bloodline rules.
mm,
That could be
Uh,
interesting.
yeah. So and then the women's championship match, we still don't have any ideas of when Io Sky and Bailey are gonna be fighting. It might be night one, but someone has brought up something interesting in the Discord that I'm in is making night two a
Mm.
Sunday, a championship Sunday where all the titles are on the line that particular.
I won't be
wow.
mad at that. Would not be
Yeah,
mad at
right.
it at all. Yeah. No.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything else that might change in particular based on the way it's just finishing up and wrapping up the card because right now
Yeah.
we're looking at 10 total matches.
Hmm.
The previous WrestleMania 39 had 15 matches.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So we're looking at we have to add like 2 on one night and maybe 3 if we're going to be 15 again, or
Mm.
maybe we just add 2 matches for each night and just have them be like an even 14.
Well, it's coming up, so that's
So
going to
Yeah.
be interesting,
Got a couple more weeks. I mean,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
we'll
So,
be
Let's
in
see.
live from Philly.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think a couple of our crew members are going to for
okay,
WrestleMania. I think night 2 they're going. I'm not
that's
100%,
pretty
but
cool.
okay,
yeah.
yeah, we'll have to reach out with him and maybe we could link up and uh, see if we can
Yeah.
get those
Definitely.
guys to pop up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
But Zombie King, what do you want to plug? What do you want to talk about?
This, you guys, we talked about in the beginning, Four Sides of the Ring. It's we do our podcast drops every Friday. We just talk about, headlines and wrestling. Giving our opinions and thoughts on the current stuff. But you want to see me personally in my wrestling, Zombie, either Zombie underscore on X, Zombie on Instagram, or Zombie King 91 on YouTube for all my matches and stuff like that.
okay, and you guys are weekly, bi-weekly, daily. What? How
We
often
do
do you
weekly.
release?
We do weekly. Every Friday. We record Thursday, but our episode drops Friday. We're
Okay,
right now they're finishing up on their 3 count trivia challenge, so that's what
I
they've
saw
been
that.
working on. Yeah, so that's what
okay,
we're trying to add some more interviews and stuff too. So it's a
Nice.
lot of things are coming the way. So stay tuned.
all right,
Awesome.
and
We're looking forward to seeing with what you like your future looks like with
Thank
wrestling
you.
because again you're awesome, wrestling is amazing,
Yes,
and of course Four Sides of the Ring, and I did watch the trivia, you guys are awesome, so
thank
looking
you. I
forward to more
appreciate
of your
that.
content.
all right.
So with
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
you're listening, you're watching, remember, like, comment, share this video with fellow wrestling fans, heels, baby faces, or whomever you'd like to view
Mm-hmm.
this in our monumental retrospectives. And then the audio is going to be going live Monday on
Yes.
all platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Spreaker. Wherever you listen, it's probably there. And if it's not, write us an email, send us a telegraph.
The email is revisitingmania@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions on what you want to see, we'll be live in Philadelphia in 2 weeks.
Yes.
If you want us to give you on what you should be doing if you ever decide to go to WrestleMania, because we will be attending the WrestleCon and trying to meet some of our older talent that we are fans of and some of the newer talent if we get a chance.
Yep.
Subscribe to our channel if you haven't.
Subscribe, y'all. If you guys are a
Subscribe.
fan of WrestleMania, this is where it's at. I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
I having fun just breaking down the matches and just giving my thoughts and opinions on it. So, if you love WrestleMania and you love everything about WrestleMania and you want to revisit on a daily basis, come visit this podcast, this crew. It's amazing.
Thank you for anyone for tuning in, for listening to us. Our next show will be next week Sunday. I don't have a time. I need to get with those guys. Where we'll be doing our WrestleMania 27 revisit with our guests from the Minority Sports Report, the Beatnik, and Ray Game 666.
You can see them and the headliner, the main attraction, the main event.
Ooh.
That's
Me.
it. Main
Oh,
event.
you are.
Shawn
All
Hey,
right.
Michaels.
you're the opener. That's it. You know, you gotta have to play
Thank
your
you.
roles. You know, your opener, you have your main events.
I got to put her over. So
That's it.
thank you once
Exactly.
again
Yes,
and
thank
have a
you.
great